People in Nashville know me as the don't sell without the intel and the guaranteed offer guy. But despite my accent, I'm also 100% guaranteed Nashville. I'm a guaranteed musician, a guaranteed dog lover, and you're also guaranteed to see me at every Titans and Preds game. Guaranteed offer means the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage will sell your house for top dollar with no cleaning, staging, showings, or open houses, and give you up to 90 days to close. So there's plenty of time to find your next home. Guaranteed Nashville means my team lives here and loves it here. We've served Nashville for over 20 years, and we're passionate about helping the people we call neighbors and friends, which is why we've had a long-standing tradition of donating to the Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. If you're thinking about a guaranteed offer, get the only one that's guaranteed Nashville. Request a no-obligation offer by calling 615-301-1650 or go to GaryAshton.com today. Remember, Gary Ashton, guaranteed Nashville.
It's Cyber Week at Electronic Express, but the deals aren't just online. We're bringing big savings on everything in the store. Get the hottest gifts like 4K TVs, computers and gaming, smart home, housewares, and more. That's not all. Upgrade your kitchen just in time for the holiday season with huge savings on all appliances. Plus, buy now, pay later with up to 36 months free financing. Get Cyber Monday prices all week long at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman. On Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Fireball Hot Take Friday. Caroline Fenton, how are we today?
Doing great on this beautiful Friday.
Ian, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
All right, I got to tell y'all, I think I'm a little fired up today.
Yeah, you're on one today.
I think I'm a little fired up. Two things happened to me today. One, I went to Invigorate Health. You know, I've been telling you guys about Invigorate Health for a while out in Mount Juliet. I love them. I went to Invigorate Health, and they said it asked I was a little tired after the Preds game last night. They're like, have one of these IVs. So, you know, the IV therapy. Popped in one of those IVs, and they gave me the executive package. And I don't know if that's what's got me all fired up or not. But it was wild, like, seeing the bag. And I was like, how often does Derrick Henry get one of these? They're like, probably Derrick Henry probably gets one like 3 times a week, which probably sounds about right.
Yeah.
You know, but again, I don't know what Derrick Henry does. But anywho, so I did a little IV over in Invigorate Health, so that maybe have me a little fired up. I also discovered a Maroon 5 song from like 10 years ago.
Like probably one of the most played songs ever. It's like one of those songs when you walk in like the mall, it's always that song playing, and I have no idea how you've never heard it before.
So I just discovered it, so that's got me in a good mood too. So it's Fireball Hot Take Friday, and we're rocking and rolling. And we'll get to this coming up. Taysom Hill sucks. Caroline Fenton needs to admit it.
Okay, I never said that he was a good quarterback. I actually said yesterday he is not a good quarterback. But it is useful to have a player that can play multiple positions as long as quarterback is just not one of them.
And we will discuss that
later. It
later
works
this
when Drew
hour.
Brees is throwing you the ball.
But
not when Taysom Hill is out.
Okay, so we will get to that later this hour as well. But I want to start with this. In the Athletic today, Titans are on the bye week. And so I think it's time to assess, which we have done some assessing. And we did a lot of assessing yesterday with TD. And one of the questions we talked about with TD was John Robinson. And so I have this from the Athletic. And it says ranking 32 NFL general managers. And so I'm like, ooh, this might be a little interesting. And I do wonder where John Robinson shows up, because there's a lot of good you can say about John Robinson, and there's a lot of bad you can say about John Robinson. It's weird. When we think of general managers in the NFL, for the most part, you guys probably can't name most of them. You know, like, who's the general manager in Washington?
Well, it's not still Dan Snyder, is it?
Well, he was never GM, but he
was he
de
the
facto,
owner?
yeah.
Okay, I don't know.
Okay, who's the GM of the Chargers?
I don't know.
Tom Telesco would be the general manager of the Chargers.
Okay, wonderful to hear.
Who's the general manager of the Ravens?
I do not know.
Eric DeCosta. So this just proves the point that, like, GM is the most important position probably in any organization, maybe outside of quarterback, but honestly, sometimes more important than quarterback. It's the most important position, and for the most part, most of these guys are kind of unforgettable. I mean, we know Bill Belichick. I mean, I shouldn't say unforgettable. Forgettable. I mean, Bill Belichick, yeah, we know Bill Belichick's a great general manager. And we know all these other guys. You know, Bill Polian was a great general manager. Obviously, our general manager was a great general manager. But you kind of think, okay, where's John Robinson? Because John Robinson has done a lot of good and a lot of bad. And so they kind of set him apart, where they put in a set of general managers who have drafted for 10 years or more. And by the way, it's amazing. Only 3 general managers, one of whom owns the Browns, so forget about him. Mm-hmm. Only 2 general managers have been drafting for 10 years that don't have Super Bowls. Rick Spielman of the Vikings and Les Snead of the Rams don't have Super Bowls and have been allowed to have 10 drafts or more. So they rank those. Again, they separate it. Drafts for 10 or more, drafts for 5 to 9, and then they have kind of like the young
3
drafts,
to 4.
3 to 4, and so on and so forth, which makes it kind of hard to figure out. But anywho, the top drafters, they have Belichick 1, Kevin Colbert of the Steelers 2, John Snyder of the Seahawks 3, Mickey Loomis of New Orleans 4, Rick Spielman 5, Jerry Jones 6. I mean, I think Jerry may have a gripe there. Les Snead 7, Mike Brown, the owner of the Bengals, who's a cheap ass, 8.
But the fact that Spielman does not have a Super Bowl and Jerry Jones does,
and the
Spielman is still above Jerry Jones.
And the fact that Spielman signed Kirk Cousins to a fully guaranteed contract and then extended him, and that Jerry drafted Dak Prescott and moved off of Tony Romo to go to Dak. That, again, neither here nor there. So then the general managers that have been around for 5 to 9 drafts: Steve Keim of Arizona, Howie Roseman of Philadelphia, who has a Super Bowl, Chris Ballard in Indianapolis, Tom Telesco of the Chargers, John Lynch of the 49ers. God, John Lynch has had 5 drafts. Ryan Pace in Chicago, Jason Light of Tampa Bay, who has a Super Bowl, obviously, and John Robinson. So how do they rank them? The Athletic says number 1, John Robinson. The Athletic writes the following: finding the right head coach and quarterback can seem impossible. Robinson fared well in these 2 key areas on his first try, a major reason why he ranks 9th in winning percentage among current general managers. Drafting a 2,000-yard rusher and a 1,000-yard receiver, A.J. Brown, also helped. Tennessee had suffered through 4 consecutive losing seasons before hiring Robinson. The team is 8-4 so far in 2021 and 1 victory away from a 6th consecutive winning season, 1 short of the franchise record set during the Warren Moon era. And it should be noted that the Warren Moon era ended when the salary cap began. So, different times of football. John Robinson's going to get 6 winning seasons in a row. So I put it to you all today, texters, callers, you, Caroline, you, Ian, however you want to say it. John Robinson, they say, of all these guys, and again, 2 of these guys got Super Bowls. Jason Licht's got a Super Bowl. Howie Roseman has a Super Bowl. Steve Keim in Arizona might have one of the best teams in the league. Chris Ballard in Indianapolis, everybody drops their pants for every time they talk about him. But John Robinson ranks number 1 on the list. Shockingly, I say that sarcastically, Ryan Pace of the Bears is last at 8. So what do we think of that? What do we think of the fact that they have number 1? They have John Robinson among drafters in his time frame, 2 of whom ahead of him have won a Super Bowl. Or do we look at the fact that Jack Conklin was a decent player, but they didn't sign him to a second contract? Corey Davis was never worth the number 5 overall pick in a draft where Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson went after Corey Davis. Adoree Jackson didn't get a second contract here. Rashaan Evans, whom they traded a 4th-round pick to go get, is not getting a second contract here. Now, the 2019 draft was fire. I mean, Simmons, A.J. Brown, Nate Davis, Amani Hooker, David Long Jr. I think we could say that was a great draft. And then Isaiah Wilson follows the next year, and now you got this draft right here. Clowney was a bust. Beasley was a bust. Julio's going to be a bust. I mean, I can see it both ways on Robinson. And they're saying in the Athletic rankings, they're writing basically that because he made the trade for Tannehill, which he completely lucked into, because he made the trade for Tannehill and because he hired Mike Vrabel, they say those are two key factors in all of this, which I don't completely believe. So what do we think about the job Robinson's doing? Every time the Titans win a game with all these backups, with all the injuries, I feel like we get 5 calls that are like, we got to give Robinson credit for finding these great backups. And then when they lose a game, we get all these calls. We got to blame Robinson because all the picks are hurting. Julio's hurting. Clowney didn't work out. And a lot of these moves, by the way, you all liked, that we on the show at the time they happened didn't like them, but still. So I guess I'm opening it up here for the fans and the callers and you and everybody else. I mean, here's the truth. Here's how I feel. I've been a Titan fan since the 3rd game that they were the Titans. I think I've told the story. I went to one Oilers game. They got beat by Ryan Leaf and the Chargers. I was like, I'm never going again until they open the new stadium. I went to the Bengals game. I watched them beat the Bengals. I had a lot of fun. I went to the Browns game. I was in the 4th grade. They smashed the Browns, an expansion team, and I was in love with the Titans. And ever since then, I've been a Titan fan. And they've had Floyd Reese as their general manager, and albeit I'm a little biased probably when it comes to discussing Floyd. They had Floyd Reese as their general manager. Then they had Mike Reinfeldt. They had Rustin Webster, and now they got John Robinson. And I think if you look at the records, but if you remember how it felt when you were a Titan fan, I think you can say, I remember what it was like with the 2 general managers that were really good, and I remember what it was like with the 2 general managers, no offense to them, Rustin Webster's a good man, when it was really bad. And so this has been my stance on Robinson the whole time. And look, I have first guessed a lot of these moves that I didn't like. You all remember, I didn't like Clowney. I went on TV with Corey Curtis on News 2 the day the Titans signed Clowney. And I was like, I think this is a bad decision. And I got blown up over it. I did not like the Julio Jones trade. I begged, don't make that trade. I said, wait a minute, hold up. You're going to pay the money for an old guy that has injuries, that might not be a good locker room guy. Now, we haven't had any indications of that here in Tennessee, the locker room thing. But the other issues bothered me just as much. And you're going to pay him $15 million and give up a second-round pick. I mean, I thought that was a decision from Planet Stupid. I said this offseason, they got to have a commission to figure out how they got the Isaiah Wilson pick so wrong. And I can't believe what they did in this draft. Dylan Radins? Really? They took the injured guy out of Virginia Tech that everybody else said, we like the player, but we probably wouldn't take him because he's injured. And those are all bad. I don't know what the scouting staff is doing. I don't know what happened in 2019 that didn't happen in 2020 and didn't happen in 2021. I don't know. But like I said, I was a Titan fan when Mike Reinfeldt was the general manager. And I remember getting beat 69-0 in New England because they had a bunch of backups out there. I watched them play with a bunch of backups at New England last week, and I thought they put up a pretty good fight. I remember when Rustin Webster was general manager, and they started the season with 4 wide receivers, Kendall Wright, Justin Hunter, Dorial Green-Beckham, and Harry Douglas. I remember what it was like when Zach Mettenberger was the quarterback of the Titans, or when they were trying to run out Ryan Fitzpatrick. And I'd say life's a lot better right now. So I think that this is telling you that the people outside of here, which again, I always think it matters more how your own fans feel about you. I think it always matters more kind of what the ecosystem internally is. I've always thought teams around the league should worry more about what your local media says because that's who their fans and ticket buyers listen to. But here, I think it's very mixed on Robinson. I think Vrabel overwhelmingly people like. I think it's very mixed on Robinson. But The Athletic is telling you that around the country, they find Robinson to be really respected. The only thing I'll say, is I remember what it was like when Rustin Webster was the general manager. And I remember what it was like when Mike Reinfeldt was general manager. And I remember what it was like when Floyd Reese was general manager. And we are a lot closer to the Floyd Reese, Jeff Fisher days with John Robinson as general manager than you all as fans ever were under the other two. So I think Robinson's doing a pretty good job. And I know there's still a half a season left to be played. But I almost think the injuries this year, some of which are his fault, drafting injured players, trading for injured players, signing an injured Bud Dupree, not having enough depth on the roster for a second year in a row, I think those are somewhat his fault. But the fact that the Titans keep plugging holes and, more importantly, have built a Patriots-light culture here, I think all goes back to Robinson. And again, he's done moves that I didn't like that have worked out. He's made moves I didn't like. Corey Davis, that did not work out. I did not like the decision to fire Mike Mularkey, and I still honestly don't. It's like, the Athletic says that Robinson nailed it with Vrabel and Tannehill. I mean, this is just me personally, and I'm a Mularkey fan, but I figured that if Mike Mularkey was the coach, they still would have won some games because they did win some games when Mike Mularkey was the coach, but I'm not here to argue that. So the Athletic says, of all these general managers who have drafted for at least half a decade, John Robinson is the best. Better than Jason Light, who just won the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay. Better than Howie Roseman, who won the Super Bowl in Philadelphia. Better than John Lynch, who went to the Super Bowl in San Francisco. What do we make of it? 615-737-1025. Caroline, your thoughts.
See, it's tough because you look at the things that John Robinson has been able to do. This is the 6th winning season in a row since he has taken over. So it's hard to argue with that because if you are one of those people who looks at the end of the day, wins are all that matters, then you can look past the first-round draft picks and you can look past the signing of free agents who weren't able to contribute in their first year as a Tennessee Titan. You can say, look, at the end of he may make some bad mistakes, but at the end of the day, he's had winning seasons and the Titans have made it to an AFC championship and they've won the division, and that's really all that matters. But I think I look at it as John Robinson has done some really good things, and he's had teams that have gone out there and have had winning seasons. But he's also made it incredibly more difficult on those teams to win because of some of the bad draft picks, because of the signing of free agents that are injured, because some free agent contracts that really, at its core, were bad deals and are going to put the Titans in a bad position moving forward. For example, signing Julio Jones to a massive contract and then extending Ryan Tannehill. And then now we see this year that Ryan Tannehill isn't performing to the level that Titans fans expect him to. So now the Titans are on board with Tannehill for even longer. And what if things don't start to look up for Tannehill? What if the Titans are stuck with Tannehill for this entire period and he just continues to go down this slippery slope? I don't know if that's going to happen, but it is a possibility. So my thoughts on John Robinson overall, he's done some good things, he's done some bad things. I don't know if I would have put him in the top spot in that general managers who've had 5 to 9 drafts. I think it'd be really hard to not put the Super Bowl winning general managers up there, but that's kind of easy to say. Sure. If you want a Super Bowl, you're at the top. So, I mean, I don't know how Titans fans feel about John Robinson. The overall vibe since I've been here has been very split. That there are Titans fans who think, fire John Robinson because his drafts have been awful and we haven't gotten any production over our past 2 first-round draft picks, and trade away our first-round picks because why does it matter? Because John Robinson can't draft in the first round anyways. And I've heard people who say, hey, you're gonna whiff on drafts sometimes, but overall John Robinson has done good things. And I feel like that's how I feel too. It's a very 50-50 split perception in the city of Nashville and with Titans fans. That's kind of how I feel internally too. He's done some good things, he's done some bad things, and he's done some things to make it a lot more difficult on Mike Vrabel and the players to go out there and win games.
Ian, your thoughts on John Robinson?
I think it's fair where he's ranked. Just considering, how bad they were when he showed up, and the turnaround was pretty quick.
They were so bad.
It was unwatchable after like 5 minutes every week. Just done.
Oh.
It was so bad.
They were so bad. They were so bad.
It was so bad. And I don't know. I do think the Mularkey Vrabel move, I kind of do give him some credit for that. I think Vrabel is a better coach. I think Vrabel would be a very highly sought after coach, and I think he did a good job of striking while he could to get him locked up. Vrabel is going to be a very good NFL coach for a very long time. The defense is pretty much all draft picks, and not all very high draft picks. And a lot of GMs miss, Steve Keim, go through their picks. Robert Nkemdiche in the first round, Josh Rosen 10th overall. They miss on picks too. They signed J.J. Watt this offseason. It hasn't really worked out. So some of those moves I think are all GM kind of moves. And I do think he might have maybe lucked into the Tannehill thing a little bit. But you could say that with Jason Light in Tampa Bay and Tom Brady,
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So I think overall, I think he's fairly ranked.
There you go, 615-737-1025. We'll take your calls on it. And that's how we're starting. The Athletic says John Robinson, number one amongst drafters in his age group or general managers in his age group. And again, the one thing that I will say time and time again when it comes to John Robinson, they're going to win one more game this season. 6 years, 6 winning seasons. I think that's pretty impressive. 615-737-1025. We'll get your thoughts on it. Plus, I do understand the drafting with John Robinson has not been good. But that doesn't mean what a lot of people think it means. Well, I'll explain that next. Here on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. FanDuel Sportsbook is my official sportsbook app. The NFL is heading into the home stretch, and they're giving us a huge divisional matchup in Week 13 between the Patriots and the Bills, and FanDuel is going to make it even better because FanDuel is giving new customers 30-1 odds on either team to win. That means you can win $150 on a $5 bet. I'm going to take the Bills. Playing at home, the weather, that apparently there's like a weird wind in that stadium. I think I'm going to take the Bills. So just telling you about that. FanDuel is sports betting made simple, and they're always hooking you up with great offers, and it's a number one sportsbook app in America. When you win, you get paid in as little as 2 hours, and if you're already a FanDuel Sportsbook user, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with $50 when you refer a friend. Plus, your friend will get $50 too. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's number one sportsbook app. Sign up with the promo code JGM before Monday night's game, and you can win $150 on a $5 bet. Again, that's promo code JGM. 21 and older in present Tennessee. New users only. $10 first deposit required. Must wager in a designated offer market. Max bonus $150. Bonus for Tennessee users fulfilled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
1025 The Game and Cromwell Media are teaming up with Souls for Souls this holiday season for Souls for Music City.
Thank you to everyone who's helping us.
Every $20 donation equals a brand new pair of athletic shoes for a local child experiencing homelessness in Middle Tennessee.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Log on to thegamenashville.com/shoes to learn more on how you can help bring a smile to a child's face at a time of need. Souls for Music City is brought to you by Newton Motor Group.
Thank you so much.
Join us for Saturday night in Smashville. Your Nashville Predators are live at Bridgestone Arena December 4th. Be there to witness the hits, the goals, and all the excitement. Single game tickets are available now, and we want you to be a part of the action. Don't wait. Grab your tickets today at NashvillePredators.com/tickets. Your Nashville Predators take on the Montreal Canadiens December 4th at 6 p.m. Be there. NashvillePredators.com/tickets. Let's go, Preds!
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Rentalworks, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Craneworks, the Southeast leader for crane and equipment rental, is looking for the best in the business to fill positions as qualified operators, truck drivers, and mechanics. Craneworks provides superior customer service and a superior work environment. Start lifting Nashville to new heights and apply today at craneworks.com/careers. That's craneworks.com/careers.
Are you suffering from chronic joint pain like Heather?
I have terrible arthritis and have had it for quite a while, and I've gone to all kinds of doctors trying to figure out what to do, and everybody just said surgery, and surgery was months of rehab, and I didn't want to do that.
But then Heather discovered QC Kinetics, local medical professionals who specialize in natural biologic treatments, non-invasive solutions designed to repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints. And she absolutely loves the results.
I like to tell anybody who's suffering that there are options that are not steroids, that are not surgery. You owe it to yourself to find out about QC Kinetics and find out what they can do for you.
No surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Discover QC Kinetics and learn more about natural biologic treatments with lasting results.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. Don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
Stillman and Company on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. The Athletic again ranking John Robinson real high. If you want a pair of tickets to see Vanderbilt men's basketball take on Loyola Chicago on Friday, December 10th, head over to YouTube and subscribe to the 1025 The Game YouTube page. You'll enter for your chance to see Vanderbilt men's basketball. Once you subscribe, email us at promotions@cromwellmedia.com with your YouTube handle. One winner will be chosen on Monday, December 6th. So the Athletic has their general manager rankings, and so they take the guys like the young pups who have been there for one or two drafts, throw them all out. So there's no way to know if Andrew Berry in Cleveland or George Patton in Denver or Terry Fontenot or Ron Rivera or whomever. There's no way to know if any of these guys are any good. Then there's the kind of the guys that have been around for a while, and in the 5 to 9 drafts, John Robinson is number one. He's ahead of Steve Keim, ahead of Howie Roseman, ahead of Chris Ballard, ahead of Tom Telesco, ahead of John Lynch, and ahead of Jason Light and Ryan Pace. I don't know how Ryan Pace still has a job, which is neither here nor there.
Let's say Ryan Pace's placement on here isn't necessarily a shock.
I will say one thing about Robinson in the drafting, because I know that's the one thing everybody wants to talk about. Mm-hmm. First of all, I have a much bigger problem with the free agent stuff. Like, I have a much, much bigger problem with the Jadeveon Clowney and Julio Jones situations than I do with drafting Corey Davis, for example. And I still think, and I've said this, I'm on record, I think Corey Davis was the worst decision that John Robinson has made as general manager.
Really?
Yes.
Worse than Jadeveon Clowney?
Yes, because here's what Jadeveon Clowney cost you.
Not much.
Jadeveon Clowney cost you Jonnu Smith, which on Sunday, I think that bothered a lot of people, myself included.
Mm-hmm.
Look at who traded back in that draft. Buffalo traded back. They actually traded the pick that was Mahomes, and they traded it back. Cleveland traded the Watson pick back. Look at the players that were on the board with that pick. Christian McCaffrey was on the board, and Marshawn Lattimore was on the board.
That was a stacked draft.
It was an unbelievable draft, and you were picking fifth. And all the options were there. The other thing the Titans didn't do a good job of, and I don't know if this is because Robinson was young or if he didn't know how to do it or if he didn't think it would matter, but he should have had everybody. The Jets had Geno Smith as their starting quarterback. He should have convinced everybody that the Jets, who had the 6th pick, were interested in one of the quarterbacks, mainly Watson. You know, because nobody knew that Mahomes was Mahomes, but he should have made everybody think that the Jets at 6 were going to take Watson. So that in order to get that pick, you had to trade to 5. And we know that when teams trade for quarterbacks, they can convince themselves to mortgage the future in order to go get the quarterback. And they weren't able to do it, and they drafted an injured wide receiver who was never worth the 5th overall pick. And so, the potential of what they could have gotten out of a trade back there, or even the other players that were on the board, that I think is the biggest gaffe that Robinson has made. I will also say, I think Robinson's biggest good move was the one the year before when he traded back out of number 1, and he ended up with Jack Conklin, Corey Davis, Derrick Henry, who else? Jonnu Smith, and Kalen Reed. And that was a good trade. But the drafting has been a concern, no doubt. I am not saying that it hasn't. I mean, especially of late. But that doesn't mean just throw the baby out with the bathwater. I feel like a lot of times when the drafting comes up, people are like, they ought to this John Robinson. Like, whoa, 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 whoa. And honestly, the bad drafting over the last 2 years, that will catch up to you in the future, more so than it will catch up to you right now. Though it is hurting right now when you have no depth on your team. But it doesn't mean fire John Robinson. Ultimately, the general manager, in my opinion, should be judged on winning and losing. And he's had 6 winning seasons, or will have 6 winning seasons out of 6 cracks at it. And you've been to the playoffs, and you're going to go back to the playoffs, and that's all that matters to me. But the drafting, people are going to harp on it. I agree it's bad. They got to figure it out what's happened the last 2 years. But so far, to me, the drafting is not a fireable offense. I will also say this, because this is something that I have said many times. While I think that our beliefs of John Robinson may be different, the truth of the matter is this show, and you all know it, that the old man would have never allowed for this show to talk about firing John Robinson. I mean, if I had come on the air and talked about firing John Robinson, he would have defended it to a T, and I don't care if they're 1-16. He'd have defended it because that's how he felt about John, and I know that. It's hard for me to host a show and tell you, well, they should fire him or whatever. I don't believe that right now. But when that moment comes and everybody gets fired, that's going to be hard for me to do. And I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do it. So I'm just leaving that out there. It's a lot easier for me to say, that David Poyle got to go. It's a lot easier for me to say that than it would be here. So let's go to your phones. 615-737-1025. It is your day, Fireball Hot Take Friday. Josh, kick us off. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Thank you for waiting. Go ahead, Josh.
Hey, man. Hey, first of all, I don't know if I missed this, but what are the metrics that were used for those rankings?
So this is just the guy at the Athletics list.
Okay, just his opinion. Okay, awesome. Well,
and they include win percentage, playoff wins and losses.
Yeah, I mean, they put all the bull crap in there, but it's the guy's opinion.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Okay, awesome. Well, it seems to me that when there's times for conventional picks or deals to be made, John Robinson doesn't do well with those. And when there's time for unconventional deals or picks to be made, John Robinson does well with those. So if you look like
what do you mean by that?
Jeffrey Simmons, taking a risk on Jeffrey Simmons, or getting Derrick Henry in the second round, franchising him. These are moves where you're not looking at here's my standard pick, here's my standard deal. I would say that on the standard side where he's failed, we're talking about Rashaan Evans, we're talking about Corey Davis, we're talking about the Taylor Lewan deal. It seems like love him or hate him. After the Cardinals game, I was saying let's fire him, and then after they won so many straight games, I thought he's a genius. And so I understand that I'm fickle and the fan base is fickle, but it seems like there's a lot of inconsistency, and I would beg to differ with anybody who says that we've had the best draft success in the past 5 years of any team in the league.
So thank you for your call. Isn't it kind of hard, though, to have the best? First of all, I don't understand what the caller was talking about the unconventional stuff like Jeffrey Simmons, and I'm like, wait a minute. Like Corey Davis was hurt when they drafted him. Caleb Farley was hurt when they drafted him. Harold Landry was coming off of an injury when they drafted him. Like, it's all over the place. Like, so to say, Simmons was unconventional because he was hurt and it worked. Well, Farley was the exact same scenario, albeit when you hear about discs and back surgeries and things like that, it makes me more nervous than an ACL. But it was still a similar type of thought process for Davis, Simmons, and Farley. So I don't understand that. But the second part that he had, what he finished on, he talked about he wanted to fire him and fans and fickle and whatever.
Yeah. And finished on, I don't know.
This is why when people are like, I got 5 points to make, just make the first point because the first point's usually the best.
But about the conventional and unconventional drafting, like let's say if Des Fitzpatrick would have wound up to be one of the best wide receivers in the league this year, then I would say, sure, yeah, that kind of feels like an unconventional pick that really worked out. But I don't know, in terms of Jeffrey Simmons, like he was one of the more highly touted, rookies and one of the more highly touted college players when he was going into the draft. So I wouldn't necessarily call that unconventional.
Yeah, I mean, they took a risk. Like the old man, he said that day he wouldn't have drafted Simmons. Now, the old man wouldn't have done a lot of the things Robinson's done, which is crazy, right? Because they're so close and they work together, and John Robinson kind of looked up to Floyd, and like they are totally different. And I keep using the story of Rob Gronkowski as kind of like the barometer of the difference between them. And I've never shared this until like a couple of weeks ago, but Floyd told me. He told Belichick no. Like when the discussion about Gronkowski came up, And Floyd had scouted Gronk. He told me that Gronk's house was right next to the stadium in Arizona, and they had a hot tub in the front yard, which I think all of us would probably assume is the truth.
That checks out.
So he scouted Gronk, and he told Bill no. Like, don't do it. Now, obviously, Rob Gronkowski was a great pick, and Rob Gronkowski's going to the Hall of Fame, and I think we all know that. But he was begging. Not begging. He told Bill don't do it. John Robinson was a big proponent of drafting Rob Gronkowski. So that just shows you that, John thinks, hey, if the doctor says it's okay, then let's go. Whereas Floyd was always against injured guys, which means you never would have had Clowney in here. You never would have had Corey Davis in here. You never would have had Julio Jones or Caleb Farley in here, but you wouldn't have Jeffrey Simmons in here. You wouldn't have Harold Landry in here, and you wouldn't have Bud Dupree in here. So it's very easy to say.
The caller's second point was it's hard to say that the Titans have had the best draft in the past 5 years.
Okay. Well, they're not picking third every year.
And also, that's not the only duty of a general manager. That's a huge part of it, yes. But I think there's a lot more that goes into it than just the draft.
You know what kills me?
What?
So Floyd put out his best available, like we used to always do like the Titan targets going into a draft. He'd come out with 5 players that he would pick if he had that pick. And it's always like, if these guys are there, you take one of them or you get out. Mm-hmm. Or, like if a guy in the top 6 falls to you, then you take that guy. And going into the 2020 draft, A.J. Terrell was his number 1 target. Now, he went off the board before the Titans pick, but he's been a great corner in Atlanta for D&Ps.
Right.
Trayvon Diggs was his second target, who would have been available with the 28th pick that they used on Isaiah Wilson.
Oh.
Justin Jefferson.
He was gone.
But that was his third target. And then Jeff Gladney, who I think is in jail. He was, Gladney and Wilson. So, he could have messed it up, but he probably would have drafted Trayvon Diggs. Oh.
That hurts.
615-737-1025. Back to your phones on Robinson. 615-737-1025 here on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. I love Focus. That's right. Focus is sparkling water with a spark. See, I got my Focus can right here. Sparkling water with a spark. It is naturally caffeinated. That's right, which is important because you don't want to get those added, calories or sugar crashes or things like that from all the energy drinks that are out there today. In fact, it's just so much easier with Focus. And, of course, it's the natural tea caffeine, so you get clean energy without the sugar, calories, or crash. Go to drinkfocus.com to find their full lineup of flavors and get them delivered right to your door. Enter promo code GAME, G-A-M-E, at checkout for 15% off your first order. Focus is also available at your local Publix. That's PHOCUS on the web at drinkfocus.com.
Saturday night.
Broken up in front. Give it back to Forsberg. And here come the hat.
Philip Forsberg and the Nashville Predators look for revenge on home ice against the Montreal Canadiens. Pre-game at 5, face-off at 6 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Closer, bolder, golden. Nashville SC Stadium is arriving in 2022, and season tickets are on sale now. With just 150 feet between the pitch and the last row, you'll be right there in the action no matter where you sit. If you thought soccer in Nashville was a party already, you ain't seen nothing yet. So come on in, grab a seat, and stay a while as we open a new era of Nashville sports. For more information on season tickets at the new Nashville SC Stadium, visit nashvillesc.com/22 ticks.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Hillside Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? Well, we have a major medical breakthrough. The Wave technology at Hillside Medical Clinic was tested by Cambridge University and the Cleveland Clinic, and the results are in. It's proven to increase blood flow by repairing blood vessels. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED by treating the root cause, call us now. And not only will the assessment and blood flow ultrasound be free, we'll also include something unique that produces powerful results in the bedroom. I don't think I've ever seen it fail. This is a $600 value, free to those that call in the next 2 minutes. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. 615-576-5000.
Tonight.
Getting the first down easily and getting into the end zone for the Oregon touchdown.
It's the Pac-12 championship game from Las Vegas as the Oregon Ducks look for revenge against the Utah Utes.
Rising delivers for Keithy. Touchdown, Utah.
Kickoff at 7
on ESPN.
102.5's The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Philip Forsberg. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
As far as John Robinson, I had it Saturday in Boston. I was talking to somebody on the phone, one of the national media people, and we literally had a back and forth for 30 minutes about John Robinson. And I was obviously saying that he has done a solid job. There are some black eyes, though. I think when you look at the high-profile things, right, first-round picks, he's had some, swing and misses, right? And some free agent acquisitions, the one that you love to look at, Clowney, that one was hindsight 2020 was a bad move. At the time when he made the move, I thought it was a good move because it seemed to fit what they needed. But I think what you really have to look at is you got to dig deep with John Robinson and not go on the surface. Look at guys like Kevin Byard, a 3rd-round pick, Jayon Brown, a 5th-round pick. I'm smiling. I'm smiling. You know why? David Long, a day 3 pick. Amani Hooker, a day 3 pick. Like, those are the things that he's hitting on to offset some of these. Danico Autry, free agent signing. Those lower key moves offset some of the high-profile ones that didn't work out. So I think overall, Robinson has done an excellent job because this franchise is the Tennessee Titans are relevant. Like, do you understand? The Titans are relevant. So I think being able to steer the ship and supply the ship with enough talent to be relevant again, I think that is an example of the job that he's done.
There you go, TD on John Robinson. Let's go to your phone, 615-737-1025, Fireball Hot Take Friday.
Ryan in Nashville texts in and says, taking a team from making a playoff run to getting over the last hurdle, winning the AFC Championship game and getting to a Super Bowl, is the next dimension that J-Rob needs to accomplish. Arguably the toughest thing for a GM to do after making a playoff run previously.
So I'm going to say this about the NFL. Like, that's hard.
Yeah.
And I think, I think sometimes it's out of the general manager's hands. I'm going to use Kevin Colbert as an example. Now, he's won 2 Super Bowls in Pittsburgh. But like that throw that Ben Roethlisberger made to Santonio Holmes in the back of the end zone to win them that Super Bowl, Kevin Colbert didn't have anything to do with that other than drafting those 2 players. And I keep thinking back to, okay, what if Steve McNair sees Chris Sanders wide open in the end zone on the final play in Super Bowl 34? And then what if Al Del Greco doesn't miss 4 field goals, 3 technically, 1 was taken back because of penalty, but Al Del Greco doesn't miss 4 field goals against the Ravens, have 1 block return for a touchdown. Al Del Greco had been a great kicker up until that season. I mean, that's not really Floyd's fault. Okay, what if John Simon doesn't fumble the ball at the AFC Championship game? What if Drew Bennett catches the ball against the Patriots? Like, the Titans are like 6 or 7 plays away from maybe winning a Super Bowl. And I say this because Bill Belichick told Floyd at the 2003 season that the toughest team that they played that year was the Titans that they beat in the divisional round. And that was a great ball game with 2 great teams. And so it's like, John Robinson has got to get this is not the NBA. And this isn't a sport where you get like 7 tries at it. You get 1 day during the year. Bill Polian is a great general manager. He's in the Hall of Fame. Just look at all the players. Look at those Buffalo Bill teams and how good they were. And look at those Colts teams and how good they were. I mean, between Bruce Smith and Thurman Thomas and Jim Kelly and Peyton Manning and Edgerrin James and Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne and Andre Reed, and how many Hall of Famers is Bill Polian going to draft? He won 1 Super Bowl. And it was because he faced Rex Grossman in it. I mean, Super Bowl, like, that's tough to say, hey, John, time to go win the Super Bowl. Like, I feel like that's out of the general manager's hands at that point. Like, you can have Super Bowl quality teams. And how many Super Bowl quality teams can you build? That's the way I look at it.
That's the thing is, the draft is not the general manager's only responsibility. That's a huge one, but also the whole course of the season from the draft to the Super Bowl.
The draft,
it's not just the general manager.
The draft, free agency, coach.
Yes.
Like, there's a lot of things that are the general manager's responsibility, but
there are a lot of things that are also kind of out of the general manager's hands.
When you talk about the difference between having a team that's capable of winning a divisional round game, like that a divisional round team, and the Super Bowl, there's really not a lot, I believe, that the general manager does in that element. Now, maybe it's going out there and getting a Patrick Mahomes, but he's won 1 Super Bowl. Russell's won 1 Super Bowl. Aaron's won 1 Super Bowl. Drew Brees won 1 Super Bowl. Brady went in the 6th round. So it's just, I think it's a little bit more than that. What's next?
Andrew texts in and says, after years of watching my terrible Titans under Robinson, I've gotten to watch my Titans win yearly. I got to go to watch my team in the AFC Championship game, and what a miracle we've hosted a home playoff game. In Robinson, we trust.
So I'm not a big believer in the in whoever we trust kind of stuff. I will say this, though. Robinson's first year, the Titans, it was the 3rd to last game of the year. They were at Kansas City, and Ryan Suckup was kicking from 55 to win the game. And Kansas City was good. Now, they weren't what they are right now, but they were good. And I remember being at my parents' house where I watched most of the Titans games with my dad, and I remember standing up because I couldn't sit down because I was so, into it. And I remember thinking, God, I've missed this. Oh, I've missed this. Like, the adrenaline of playoff football and meaningful games in December and a kick to win it. And here you go. And and I'm sitting there and I'm like, even before the kick, I'm like, I've missed this. I've missed the excitement, the intensity, the adrenaline of meaningful football. Because it's been 10 years since they had it. And that was his first year as general manager. So don't forget those feelings. I bet you Alabama
and the feeling
football
of
fans,
this is it. Win or go home.
Alabama football fans don't have that kind of I miss the intensity of a big game. They don't have that. Tennessee, you watch. If Tennessee wins the East at any point here in the near future, grown men will be in tears because it's been so long since the Vols have gone to Atlanta.
I know for a fact 2 of them that for sure will be.
Well, one of them tears up, when the
one of them tears up at the flyover, but I know he will definitely tear up at this as well.
615-737-1025. We're back to your phones, but coming up next, how about them Saints last night with Taysom Hill?
Who dat?
Oh my God, we got to talk about that game. Fireball Hot Take Friday. I love Fireball Cinema Whiskey. Goes down so smooth and it tastes so great. And if you've got something big to celebrate or you've got a big holiday party going, you have got to get the Fireball there because nothing says happy holidays like a nice shot of Fireball. Fireball Cinema Whiskey. I've been telling you about it for years. Why? Because Fireball's so popular, it's not going anywhere. And it's definitely popular around the holiday season. Fireball Cinema Whiskey. Ignite tonight. Please do responsibly. Be 21 years or older to enjoy Fireball Cinema Whiskey.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Lots of sunshine this afternoon, highs in the upper 60s and lower 70s. This weekend will turn cooler and bring scattered storms back to the forecast, and it stays that way next week.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Touchdown, Leonard Fournette.
Witness tomorrow's NFL stars this December at the TransPerfect Music City Bowl.
Eli back to throw, avoids pressure, steps up, has a man wide open, Armstrong in the end zone, touchdown.
Don't miss a second as two of college football's most exciting programs from the SEC and Big Ten go head-to-head on Thursday, December 30th at 2 p.m. inside Nissan Stadium. For more information on this year's game, including ticket availability, visit MusicCityBowl.com to get your tickets today.
I stay very active. For my 40th birthday, I ran a 50-mile race, and to train for that, I was running about 70 miles a week. But over the years, that's deteriorated to a point where even running a mile, my knee would swell, and the pain that I would have would sideline me for several days.
That's Shane Mosney's story that led him to QC Kinetics.
I elected to choose a combination regenerative therapy that helps my knee regenerate to a point where I'm able to get out and start running again. But more importantly, I left there with a lot of hope.
QC Kinetics natural biologic treatments boost your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged tissue with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery.
Those guys have given me back a part of my life that was deteriorating. I just ran my first 10K since my therapy, so I'm trying to pick a good half marathon to run, but my goal is to run another marathon, yes.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4224. QC Kinetics, 249-4024.
Hey.
Hey.
Nice tailgate setup.
Thanks. Dos Equis?
Sure.
Really hits the spot.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Well, I hope your team never wins as long as I'm alive.
Same to you.
A dose of respect. Brought to you by Dos Equis, proud sponsor of college football. Get a dose. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2021. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Darren McFarland.
He's cool. He's got a personality, and they make fun of him.
Willie Donick.
Would this be a fun guy to come to work and hang around with all day?
Chase McCabe.
They're just like, hey, we need you to play yourself.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Curacion CBD on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Flag on the play. Another interception. And this is Watkins to the end zone, but a flag is down. And it looks like it's going to stand.
So that was last night. Taysom Hill, baby! Fireball Hot Take Friday. I told you on the show yesterday I could not wait to watch Taysom Hill play quarterback yesterday. And the reason being that I wanted to see Taysom Hill play quarterback is because I have never believed in Taysom Hill. I have never believed in him at quarterback, at running back, at tight end, at wide receiver, at punt protector, at kicker, at defensive tackle. I've never believed in him. And if you want to say, hey, he's a gadget player that can come in here and make a play, well, then get him to make some plays because he really normally didn't make a lot of plays. But they just loved him. Sean Payton drops his pants at the sight of Taysom Hill. He loves him so much.
Loves him.
And yesterday I told you, good that Taysom Hill's going to be quarterback because they've been saying, I remember a couple years ago, like maybe 2019, he was a restricted free agent. Sean Payton said, oh, he's a franchise quarterback. And I thought, what?
Whoa.
I was like, who's smoking some crack today? And when I saw that, Jameis Winston beat him out for the job, I was like, well, see, figures, gimmick guy. And then Trevor Siemian's playing quarterback over him. So now I really know how Sean feels if you're going to play Trevor Siemian over Taysom Hill. And then he signs Taysom Hill to an unbelievable contract.
Massive contract.
I mean, these college football coaches would be jealous of this contract Taysom Hill signed for. And so finally he gets out there, and I'm like, fine, let's play him. Let's see him if he's any good. I don't think he is, but let's see. And Caroline defended the honor of Taysom Hill yesterday.
Whoa.
And her Saints.
Let me say that I never said, oh, Taysom Hill's going to go out there and be great. Or what are you talking about, Jared? Taysom Hill's the greatest gift to the Saints ever. No. Pump the brakes. I said Taysom Hill had no business getting a contract that big, and I think anyone would agree with me on that. I said Taysom Hill is not going to be a good quarterback. And when I saw that Taysom Hill was going to start at quarterback, I was breathed a sigh of relief because I put a lot of money on the Saints under 9 wins. And I
Ian?
thought, perfect, we're set up.
Ian, does this sound like what we were hearing yesterday?
And I never said that Taysom Hill was any sort of Pro Bowl player. I said that, quote, I said that Taysom Hill isn't any sort of Pro Bowl player at any of the positions that he plays. But it is useful to have a player on your roster that you are able to plug into any position when you don't have a ton of depth at any positions. You can put him in at running back, you can put him in at wide receiver, you can put him in at tight end, or can you expect a ton from him? Probably not, but he can plug in at any sort of position. I never said that he was going to be a successful quarterback.
Ian, is that what we heard?
I don't remember anything specific about being a successful quarterback. I do remember something about the usefulness of a Swiss Army kind of knife thing.
And I stand by that.
Something like that. But I think that I must assume that maybe he's a good running back. But yeah, I don't know. I'll be honest.
He's not as good as the running back they got there.
No.
I mean, he's not better than Alvin Kamara or Mark Ingram. I mean, he is a jack of all trades and not even close to a master of any
And
of them.
he's not good at any of it.
That's what I just said.
What's the point of having hey, you know what? He can play point guard. He can play shooting guard. He can play the 2 forwards, and he can be the man in the middle.
Stop making
You
football basketball.
You just don't want to put him on the field.
If the guy is no good, there's been one player in my lifetime that could play all 5 positions. His name was Magic Johnson. He was pretty good. There's a close second to a guy that I think can play 4 of the 5 positions in basketball. His name is LeBron James. Those guys are pretty good. But tell me a guy, I'm sure there's a guy in the NBA who's 6'9" and can guard a post player and can also handle the ball. But if he's not any good, then nobody wants him on their team. And this guy, Sean Payton, is just obsessed with him. I've never seen anything like it.
He loves him.
And here's the thing.
I don't feel that same way.
Here's the thing that I think is crazy about the NFL, and I want you all to remember this. And I'm going to call this the Jeff Fisher theory. Floyd was once asked on Ask the GM, would you rather have a great coaching staff or a great scouting staff? And he said, I'd rather have a great scouting staff than a great coaching staff. The Dallas Cowboys had no coach yesterday. And when they do have a coach, their coach, Mike McCarthy, is usually one of the most dogged coaches in the country. And yet they stomped who I think is a pretty good coach in Sean Payton.
Mm-hmm.
Over the last handful of games, we talk about game planning against the Titans. I thought Sean McVay, who everybody loves and has all these great players, I thought Sean McVay's game plan was kind of weak. I thought Sean Payton's game plan with Trevor Siemian was awesome. I thought it was a great game plan. They went right at Chris Jackson every play. It worked. I thought it was better than Belichick's game plan last week. It's amazing. It is amazing what having a quarterback can do for you in this league. Sean Payton's going to the Hall of Fame. Why Sean Payton going to the Hall of Fame? Because he got Drew Brees. And life's a lot harder without Drew Brees than it is with it. And they've tried everything. They tried Jameis Winston. They tried the Swiss Army knife that they're obsessed with. And it's not working out.
They tried Trevor Siemian.
They've tried everything. They've tried everything they can get their hands on. It's all about the players in this league. Sometimes it's all about the quarterback. Not all, but sometimes. It's about the quarterback. Dallas, no coach yesterday, and they smoked New Orleans. And Trevor Siemian, I mean, how much of a goofball do you have to feel? Like, if you paid that guy all that money, and he's not good at any of those positions, and nobody has ever thought. You know what I think that Payton loves about him? Because, you know, Payton's like one of these mad scientist, offensive coordinator kind of guys. I think Payton loves the fact that he can stay up at 3 o'clock in the morning in his underwear and draw on a whiteboard like, oh, we could use Taysom in this role. I mean, we could have him punt the ball to himself and then lateral it back to Alvin Kamara and then lateral it back to Taysom behind the line of scrimmage, who then throws it down the field because we haven't tried a forward pass yet. Let's put that in the game plan for Sunday. And the other coaches are probably sitting there all these years and thinking, so we have like the 5th best quarterback in the planet, and we want to take him off the field and put this guy in. I mean, but don't you think it's a great play, guys? Give me a break, Taysom Hill. Give me a break. You know what? He's good to have because he can kind of play running back. Hey, he can't play running back better than Dontrell Hilliard can play running back. Give me a break on Taysom Hill, Sean Payton, and Caroline.
Okay, first of all, do not put me in the same category as Sean Payton because I would not pay him. What is he making? Like $7.5 million a year?
What Sean Payton makes?
No. Taysom Hill on his new deal.
I have no idea.
Whatever it is, it's massive. I wouldn't sign him to that. All I am saying is that it is whatever Sean Payton, I think, is a very intelligent offensive coach, and I don't think that anyone would disagree with me on that.
Oh, yeah, he's going Hall of Fame.
And he sees something useful in Taysom Hill. And if he has all these weird, crazy offensive plays like you just named, which wasn't a real play, you're being a little bit dramatic about it. But Taysom Hill is a plug-and-play kind of guy that if you need him to catch passes, he can do that. If you need him to run the ball, he can do that. If you need him to block, he can do that. I'm saying that's useful, and that is the value that they see in him. They value it a little bit more than I would if I were Sean Payton, but I'm saying I see the value in a player that can do a lot of different things.
Who would you rather throw the ball to, him or Michael Pruitt?
Taysom Hill.
Oh, come on. Ian, him or Michael Pruitt?
That is a tough one.
It is a tough one.
They're pretty much 50-50. I mean, maybe Taysom Hill might be a little bit better after the catch, but I would trust Michael Pruitt to catch the ball more, I think.
And Michael Pruitt's a lot cheaper.
That's a waiver wire guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Who would you rather have run the ball, him or Dontrell Hilliard?
Hilliard. He can at least, run fast. Although,
yeah,
Taysom Hill
Hilliard's a running back.
Taysom Hill had a good, he had a jump. He jumped over somebody, a good hurdle last night. But he doesn't have the speed.
He can run the ball.
So my big point here is that, hey, he can do all these different things, so it's nice to have on the roster. And I'm like, right, but you can just go get guys off the practice squad that are better at the things. Like, if I need somebody to take extra 5 carries because I got guys hurt, I don't need him doing it. I'll just go get a guy off the practice squad who's better.
And I'm telling you, I wouldn't have signed him to that same kind of contract. But he can do things that a tight end can do, that a running back can do. He can do all of those things individually. I wouldn't have given him that much money, but there is value in having a multi-skilled player.
Nah. I'm just saying.
Okay, well then on Jared Stillman's football team, you do not get to have Taysom Hill.
Okay. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. I think I can live. Belichick has won, 6 Super Bowls? He's been to, 9 Super Bowls? Belichick has. Might go to another one this year.
And it's probably because Taysom Hill doesn't play on his team. That's the reason why.
Now, he did have Edelman, and they would throw the ball with Edelman. But Edelman was a wide receiver. 615-737-1025. 2 big Pred stories that we got to get to. And we'll do that coming up next here on Stillman & Company. Fireball Hot Take Friday. We're delivered by TriStar Moving. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Music City Bowl,
84 yards for the touchdown,
to the Rose Bowl and Sugar Bowl on New Year's Day,
touchdown,
to the College Football Playoff and National Championship.
gets around and leaps to the end zone.
Your home of college football's bowl season.
This is an incredible moment for our program.
Is 102.5 The Game, ESPN 94.9, and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
This week in Vanderbilt history, November 27, 1982. Commodores 28, Tennessee 21. A game known as the Super Bowl of Tennessee and one of the most memorable wins in BU history. On a rainy day in Nashville, the lead went back and forth throughout the game, with neither of the old rivals able to go in front by more than 7. Vanderbilt's short passing game turned into a big play offense. Quarterback Whit Taylor throwing for a pair of 42-yard touchdowns, then finding Phil Roach on a 65-yard heave to set up the winning score. Taylor faked to Keith Edwards, then scored on a 1-yard keeper around the right end. An iconic play still replayed to this day. 5th straight win for Vanderbilt, which improved to 8-3 on the season and finished SEC play at 4-2. Coach George McIntyre's Doors capped a terrific 82 season in the Hall of Fame Bowl in Birmingham. Commodores 28, Volunteers 21. November 27th, 1982. That's This Week in Vanderbilt history. I'm Kevin Ingram.
Mortgage rates are on the move, but you can still lower your house payment with my friends at Loan Pronto. Willie here. Call Loan Pronto now and take advantage of their super popular zero-cost refi program. So many people are doing this before the year ends. You can refi now. Get a rate with an APR in the low 2s with no junk fees and no closing costs, even if you refinanced 6 months ago. Loan Pronto's all-digital process is fast and easy, virtually no paperwork required, and most loans get closed in 14 days. And if you act right now, you can even skip
skip your next 2 house payments. So call Loan Pronto now. Rates are still really low. If you're currently in the APR range of over 2.75, call now. You got nothing to lose. See how much you can save by going into the new year. Lower that house payment. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal Housing Lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans eligible. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. Is your AC or heating unit old and inefficient? Is it breaking down yearly? Now is the time to replace it. Waiting can cost you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Just like everything, the cost of a new AC unit is rising. Effective January 1st, all manufacturers are increasing prices up to 10%. Get ahead of the game and call Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, offering 60 months, no interest financing, and 10-year parts and labor warranty on all new units. Schedule now at springhillac.com or call 615-778-8855.
Zines First is the official sign company for 1025 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
Did you know the arrow in Amazon's logo represents A to Z? Maybe the My Computer Career logo should represent unemployed to employed. Ryan was out of work when he started classes in March. In September, he started his IT career, working for Amazon, making more money than he ever thought possible. Here's a prime opportunity. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You could start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman. On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Fireball Hot Take Friday. Corey Curtis, News 2 in about 10 minutes or so. Last night, boy, Predators did not look very good. It's one thing to lose a hockey game, which they lost last night. Mm-hmm. It's another thing to they just looked so slow and just so unimpressive last night against the Bruins. And normally, I'd look at a game like that and I'd say, well, look, it's the Bruins. And they still have a lot of those great names, Bergeron and Pasternak. And, they still usually have a lot of these great players. But Boston's not on a heater. They came in here without their coach, Bruce Cassidy's got COVID. He's out. And so they played last night, and I thought, okay, we'll see a little punch, counter-punch, punch, counter-punch. And Boston scored early to go up 1-0. And I was stunned by the amount of Bruin fans that were up in the building last night. And, they were loud when that first goal went in there. And it felt to me
that was a great goal, though.
Well, that was a great goal in the second goal.
Right in the top shelf.
The second goal was...
Yeah.
But, the Predators just looked so lifeless last night. The puck possession was not there. The real scoring opportunity. I know they got 42 shots or whatever it was last night, but they didn't have a lot of great scoring opportunities last night. I felt like the game was tilted, even though they got their shots. I just didn't think they played with a lot of energy out there last night. Like, they didn't play with a lot of focus or determination or whatever word you want to use, whatever buzzword you want to put in there. I didn't feel like I saw it last night from the Predators. And I told you during the week, I'm going to take the Predators on Tuesday, and I'm going to take the Predators to lose on Thursday. And it had nothing to do with the teams they were playing. So I watched Predators on Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and they kind of gave me an effort that I didn't love. Then they smashed New Jersey on Friday, where they just kicked their butts up and down the ice. Then they lost on Saturday to a pretty good Colorado team, but they were down 5-0 in that game. So not a good start there. Then they turn around and they smoke Columbus. Now, I couldn't see that game because the Bally Sports app wouldn't work. Mm-hmm. And then kind of a lifeless effort last night. So you win one, you lose one, you win one, you lose one, you win one, you lose one. And starting to feel a little bit like a habit. Starting to feel like a habit I don't really like.
I don't know if I would necessarily call it a lifeless effort. I mean, I have to say, I think that the Bruins goalie last night was Swayman.
Yeah.
Had probably the best game of his career last night.
No, he's a bad boy.
I mean, the Predators took
He's
chances.
a bad boy, so this is nothing new. Like, he's a really good goalie.
I mean,
young, but he's
Tomasino had a nice little shot that just got blocked, and it was a really good save. I mean, they had opportunities, and it wasn't
I don't think
just
Swayman stole it last night. And I'm sitting
42
where they
42 shots on goal.
This has been the Predators' excuse
and it wasn't
for years.
And it wasn't from the blue line. It wasn't just these random shots that just didn't go in because it was a bad shot. I mean,
sit where they shoot twice. I did not feel like the Predators put pressure on Swayman last night. I did not feel like at any point, and I've been there where you play your butts off and you lose. I did not feel that way last night. I thought the puck possession last night was horrible. I thought that when Boston had it in your end, they sustained possession and they moved it and they moved without the puck. And, I mean, that's how you get those one-timers that Saros has no idea where they're coming from and they go top shelf on you. I mean, that's how you get, you watched that Charlie McAvoy play. Oh, my God. I mean, and I just felt like the Predators were just kind of like they were there. But it didn't feel like I didn't. Again, I like Swayman. Swayman's a bad boy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Bruins are going to win a lot with him because I think he's not going to choke in the big games like Tuukka Rask always did. But, no, I think Saros kept it 2-0.
Yeah.
And, I think Saros played his butt off last night. But I'm
good
just
game last night. I'm
just getting tired of the win one, lose one because you're not going to be any good this year. And if you keep doing the win one, lose one and you don't get hot at some point, a tough stretch is going to sink your season. And it doesn't matter when it comes. And you're going to have to essentially start the season over again in March because you've got that break for the Olympics. So I didn't like that. The Stadium Series jersey was released yesterday. I got to be honest with you. I said it before the end of the show. It's growing on me. I kind of like it. The fans, well, I shouldn't say the fans. Twitter, which is not a fair representation of society.
Yes.
Twitter, which also hates me, no matter how. Predators Twitter, which absolutely hates me.
Yeah, they do hate you.
Even though, the Stillman and Company, the Jared and the GM show, was at its most popular for the most part when the Preds were good. So Preds Twitter hates the Stadium Series jersey. Hates it.
They're very outspoken about how much they dislike the jersey.
I'm going to say this. When I saw the jersey, I was like, because I had somebody tell me, they were like, oh, you are going to love this jersey. And so I remember I was in a cab in Los Angeles when I saw the Winter Classic jersey get unveiled, and I was like, holy crap, look at that jersey.
The Winter Classic jerseys may be my favorite jersey in the NHL.
When
it is such a good
somebody told
jersey.
me that you're going to love the Stadium Series jersey, I was like, okay. Then I saw it. I saw it before all you did, and I was like, that's the jersey? And I think that the reaction that I had and a lot of you all had was that the bar was set so high by the Winter Classic jersey that for it to not be as good as the Winter Classic jersey is kind of like, what? But the more I saw it throughout the night, the more it's growing on me. And the one thing I want to see is I want to see what it looks like on the ice. Because I think there's a chance it looks a lot better than it did in the videos that they post. Now, there's a chance that it looks worse, but I would say this. It was growing on me at the end of the show yesterday. I like kind of the throwback to the hatch print stuff that they have on there, though I wish the letters were smaller and contained in the gold stripe.
I don't like how it's on two different lines.
I don't. I mean, so was the Winter Classic jersey.
But those are two different words.
Oh, okay, all right.
Like Nashville Predator, yeah.
No, I see on that one. So that look, Twitter doesn't like anything, especially Preds Twitter.
That's true.
Preds Twitter doesn't like anything that's good for you. So they don't like me, and they don't like this jersey. So by the transitive property of mathematics, this, in theory, should be a great jersey. But I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to sit there and tell you that you're all wrong, and I'm not going to tell you that this jersey is awesome. And I was thinking that when this jersey dropped, before I had seen it, I thought that you all were going to be running to the team store yesterday to try and pre-order the jersey because it was going to be as good as the Winter Classic jersey. Now, I was also told that, and make of this what you want, I was told that Adidas designed this jersey and the Predators were not involved creatively in it, whereas they were involved in the Winter Classic jersey. So there is that. But it's growing on me, and I want to see it on the ice. Because I think contrasting with the white ice, I think it may actually be a pretty cool jersey.
It may look cool. And the Predators tweeted out that Adidas did design it, but it's made of mostly recycled materials, which is cool.
Oh, yeah.
Good for the environment.
There you go. Good for the environment.
Yeah. I love a classic-looking jersey. A classic,
Can't they make the regular
jerseys
jerseys out of recycled materials?
Yeah. I'm sure they can.
So then why don't they make every jersey out of recycled materials?
I don't know. I don't work for Adidas, but why don't you take that up with Adidas? But that's why I love the Winter Classic jerseys. They were so, no pun intended, classic looking. They were clean looking. They were clean and crisp. This one doesn't seem as clean and crisp to me. I like that they incorporated Smashville. I think the guitar pick is cool. I like that they kind of picked out little parts of Nashville's culture and put it in there. So, I still think people will go try and pre-order the jersey, and people will buy this.
Can I say this, though?
Even if they say that they hate it, they're still going to buy it.
I absolutely hate using nicknames on the front of the jersey. I hate it.
Wow.
I hate the NBA. I hate it.
I like it. I think it's cute.
I hate it. The Knicks that have an iconic uniform are playing a playoff game wearing jerseys that say the city that never sleeps.
That is a lot of words to put on the front
The
of a
Cubs
jersey.
wearing a
Wrigleyville.
Awful.
Well, those uniforms are just awful.
Awful.
But like the Diamondbacks wearing Los Serpientes on their jersey, cool. Really cool.
You know what? Just put the team name on there. That's all I want. Now, so for this, I get it, but I don't hate the jersey as much as everybody else on Twitter seems to hate it. And I would guess that if Twitter hates it, then the reality is most people don't. But Twitter doesn't like it, so at least there's that. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. I did think when they were dropping this jersey, I thought it was going to be awesome. I thought it was going to be like, and that was not my reaction. 615-737-1025, but it's growing on me, and I like it. Corey Curtis, News 2, will join us next. His thoughts at the Titans on the bye week. We'll ask him about whether or not he thinks they're going to be the number one seed. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Those are my guys. Hiller is giving away cash for the holidays, and they're celebrating from now until the end of the year with special deals. Hiller wants to make sure every child experiences the joy of Christmas this year, and they're donating $50 in Toys for Tots with every tankless water heater purchase, and giving away a $250 Visa gift card with each unit. Get a $500 Visa gift card when you buy select new HVAC systems, or get a $500 Visa gift card with the purchase of any new whole home generator. More specials are online at happyhiller.com. As always, Happy You'll Be Here. The service is free, and I know this because they do a great job at my home. These deals are only available until the end of the year, so schedule with Hiller today. Hiller, they're proud supporters of the Preds, Tennessee, and the Vanderbilt Commodores. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
1025 The Game and Cromwell Media are teaming up with Souls for Souls this holiday season for Souls for Music City.
Thank you to everyone who's helping us.
Every $20 donation equals a brand new pair of athletic shoes for a local child experiencing homelessness in Middle Tennessee.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Log on to thegamenashville.com/shoes to learn more on how you can help bring a smile to a child's face at a time of need. Souls for Music City is brought to you by Newton Motor Group.
Thank you so much.
Forecast quality candidates ahead. Indeed skills tests help you find the right hire faster. Screen for skills your job requires. Hiring becomes a breeze. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Happy holiday from Houston Clinic Orthopedics, conveniently located where you live and work with various locations in and around the Nashville area. Houston's physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, and many other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they strictly adhere to all CDC guidelines for the patient's and staff's safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all Houston physicians and specialties, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
Do great prices and selection on trucks and SUVs still exist? They do in Truckville. Sarah Chevrolet Buick GMC of Nashville has the largest selection in Tennessee. And we keep getting fresh stock on our lots every day. We're committed to offering you our best price and a 5-star experience, which is why we're still known as the destination for trucks and SUVs. Come visit Truckville, Tennessee today in person or online at sarahnashville.com.
Ryan Porth back again to tell you about Dr. Kelly Rice, Family Cosmetic and Dental Sleep Medicine. Earlier this year, Dr. Rice, I was disappointed to have a cavity filling even after brushing my teeth all the time and having regular checkups.
Ryan, cavities are like any other health condition. You don't really know you have one until it gets bad. Recently, I saw a patient for treatment that they had been putting off. Something that could have been simple to fix 6 months ago turned out to need a root canal and a crown. Postponing treatment costs more and takes time away from work.
Well, I can attest to the fact that if I had not been doing regular checkups, I may have had to get a root canal by now. But thanks to your great staff that has been taking care of me for almost 15 years, my teeth are as good as they've ever been.
Well, we do things differently. I want to let people know that if they're afraid of pain or worried about the cost, they are not alone. Don't be embarrassed. We understand. Give us a call at 615-373-4488. That's KellyERice.com.
Dr. Kelly Rice, Family Cosmetic and Dental Sleep Medicine, 615-373-4488.
When a nasty cold keeps you up all night, Vicks NyQuil Severe gives you powerful relief from your worst cold and flu symptoms, which changes a night like this into a night like this. That's better. NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, sore throat, stuffy head, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold, medicine. Use as directed.
Find it in the cold and flu aisle at a Walmart near you.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Stillman and Company, Titans are at the bye week. But I do want to tell all the fine folks to join Chase McCabe at Sam's in Hendersonville at 307 Indian Lakes Boulevard and catch the SEC Championship game and enjoy some great food, beer specials, and grab some game swag. And it should be noted, I just like to state for the record that I think this is how they should do it every year, where when the Titans are off, there's a massively important college football weekend. I think that's how it should be. That's just me. I don't know about you all. But anywho, Corey Curtis, News 2, joins us on the program. Corey Curtis, brought to you by our friends at Invigorate Health, where I was today getting a little IV therapy. Corey Curtis, again, brought to you by Invigorate Health. Look and feel your best with IV therapy, medical weight loss, testosterone, health, and wellness, body shaping treatments. InvigorateHealthTN.com for more info. Corey, the Titans are at the bye. They have the second highest odds, according to the New York Times, of winning the number one seed in the AFC. Things look kind of dreary right now, but should they be? How should Titan fans feel at 8-4 heading into the bye?
Well, I mean, look, I think you still have to feel good about your situation. Number one, because the guys you've lost, you don't think you've lost for the entire year. You think you're getting them back at some point. And, and you've also seen you can win games without them and not just beat the bad teams. Actually, have struggled more with the bad teams, to beating the good teams. That doesn't mean you don't need your guys back, because they definitely need their guys back. But they're still in a good situation. I think that their strength of schedule the rest of the way is still the worst in football, even though I think it's a little misleading because the Dolphins and Niners are surging. But I still like their position. I think the Patriots look entirely beatable. I think the Steelers are a fraud. I think the Ravens are heavily flawed. I think the AFC is wide open to be had.
Corey, if I tell you this, Bud Dupree, David Long Jr., and Derrick Henry return for the last 3 games and the playoffs, how do you feel about the Titans?
No A.J. Brown or Julio Jones?
Well, I think you're going to get those guys back. I just think they're going to get hurt again.
You're just assuming they're going to get hurt again. That's the other big question. If they get these guys back, do they stay back? Because we've seen a propensity for them to get hurt again. But Bud Dupree, Derrick Henry, and David Long Jr., listen, I'm not in love with it because I need weapons on the outside. But you know what those 3 guys are? Those are 3 tough dudes. And I like tough dudes, and I like going to battle with tough dudes. And I would say this. They could lose with those 3 guys in the field, but I would line up against anybody in the NFL with those guys on the field.
Corey, I watched Man in the Arena on ESPN+. It's the new Tom Brady docuseries. It's very much like The Last Dance, where they recap the Patriots Super Bowls. And Vrabel was a part of the last one where they talked about the team culture with the dynasty. And basically, Brady said it best, summing it up by saying, it wasn't the coach who motivated us, and it wasn't the fans who pushed us and held us accountable. It was each other. I look at Tannehill, and I look at Henry, and I look at Byard, and I think those guys are motivated players. I think they're hardworking players. I think in spite of the fact that Tannehill's been pretty awful lately, I think they're good players. I just don't know if they can hold others accountable the way that Vrabel held his teammates accountable when he played in New England. But I don't know because I'm not inside the locker room. What do you think?
It's hard to say. I mean, because we know Tom held guys accountable. You saw that on the sideline. And you had a pretty good feeling that that whole New England thing was built with like-minded people. There was particular kind of people that they wanted in there, and I think the Titans are trying to bring a particular kind of like-minded people in there. Obviously, they've failed with a number of them, and many of those guys are moving on. It's, Tom Brady had skins on the wall, and so that makes it a lot easier to hold guys accountable. I mean, listen, we know Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel doesn't back down from anyone or anything, so I can't imagine him not holding people accountable. And it's hard to do because who's the first person you got to hold accountable, Jared? Yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And so we first have to ask ourselves, do we think that all of these guys are holding themselves accountable? And I would say largely, I think most of them are. We could argue on a few, obviously, to say, are we sure? But, that's where it starts. I mean, like Derrick Henry is a perfect example. Derrick Henry holds himself accountable. I mean, to the utmost. I mean, and you hope that the competition starts there. You hope somebody goes to practice on the defensive side of the ball and says, Derrick Henry is not going to beat me today. And that's where the competition starts, and you hope it builds from there. I mean, you need a guy like a Big Jeff or a David Long or Kevin Byard to be that way. I do know this. Nobody's going to outwork Kevin Byard, right? I mean, this guy lives and breathes it. But is that enough for him to look at, I don't know, Elijah Molden, I just say his name because he's a rookie, and say, you're going home already? I don't know. And also, this is a different era. I mean, we're talking 20 years ago. 20 years ago was different. And I know, I'm old now. It's official, so I can say that things are different. So I don't know if guys are comfortable talking to that way to each other or not. Maybe what they had there was so singularly special that it's not going to be duplicated. But I do know this, okay, and I'll simplify it down, and I texted you this the other day when you were talking about it some. The key is competition, and I brought up the Derrick Henry scenario. The Chicago Bears became great in 1985. They circle the moment on the calendar. Jimbo Covert picked up Steve McMichael by the neck and body slammed him on the field. And it was at that point where the offense said, enough. You guys will not push us around anymore. And it became a heated competition every day in practice. Most people don't know this. The 1985 Bears were the highest scoring team in the National Football League. They weren't just a great defense. They were a great offense. That's why they went 15-1 and rolled to the Super Bowl. If you can have that competition on the football field where guys look at each other every day and say, you're not going to beat me, that's when I think that they can take the next step. And I think there's a level of accountability there as well.
I think, too, the one thing that I've noticed in a lot of these is all the guys, and you brought up the 85 Bears. I watched the 85 Bears 30 for 30 maybe a couple of weeks ago, and they have this. The Brady Patriots clearly have this. Rodney Harrison talks about it, that he was kind of this certain way. And I just, from knowing Vrabel, I know he's this way too. Michael Jordan had this, which was, I'm going to be an ass to you, and I don't care. So
Every day.
I understand that you may, and honestly, I hate to sit there, that's kind of how I operate, where I'm like, look, I know that there are coaches and general managers and stuff in this town that don't like me. I get it, and that doesn't bother me. But it's like, if you don't play at the standard that I hold you to, he played. And I mean, look, I think Vrabel probably tries to do some of that as coach as well. I don't know if these players are that way. Like the idea of, hey, Big Jeff acts this way, and if you don't like it, he doesn't care. That's the one thing, and we'll never know the answer as to whether or not the Titans are like this, but that's what I want to know. Does Ryan Tannehill care if people on his offense hate him? Does Ryan Tannehill, who's the hardest hitter on the team? I can't even think off the top of my head, like who's the Blaine Bishop of this team? But does that guy say like, yeah, I'm going to hit a guy in practice, I don't care. Like, and I don't know if this Titans team is mean enough to be able to do that. I know Marcus wasn't.
Yeah, well, Marcus was a different kind of guy. I mean, Marcus led a different way. And I'm still, and look, obviously the guys respond to Tannehill, but I'm not sure about how he leads. Obviously, I mean, look, you see Brady, you see the intensity and the way he is, but how was Joe Montana? I mean, I would say Montana was more on the lines of Mariota than he would be on that. But he also had unbelievable teammates all around him, and he was perfect for the system. So I think there's room for everybody. I mean, look, the Titans have had guys who didn't care, all right? And by didn't care, I mean it's like you're going to deal with me whether you like me or not. Like Delaney Walker was one of those guys. If you don't like me, you come and knock me off, okay? That he was going to prove to you every day he was the best. I mean, I remember when he did that Bussin' with the Boys interview when he said, "You want to draft a tight end? Go right ahead. He's not going to play." Okay? And that's the attitude that you're talking about. And they have had some of those guys. I think part of the problem for us, Jared, is with COVID, we don't get to talk to these guys as much as we used to, especially off camera, when you get a feel for what they're really all about. I mean, that's why I know Delaney Walker so well, just hanging out with him in the locker room. And you just know this guy thinks he's the best. He's got his chip on his shoulder where he's going to show you every day that he's the best. And I look forward to the chance to getting to know these guys again when we get that opportunity to know how many of these guys are that way. Because you're right, we don't know. It's hard to know when you can't get to know them.
Corey Curtis is our guest, News 2. Fireball Hot Take Friday. What's your hot take this week?
You know what? Titans, I think, are going to be the number 1 seed in the AFC when the playoffs get here.
That is not as hot of a take as you think. They have the second highest odds, according to the New York Times, of getting that. And both TD and I yesterday went over it, and we talked about Patriots, Bills, Ravens, and Chiefs. Because, I mean, those kind of sound like, those 4 in the Titans seem like the most likely teams to be the number 1 seed. And I asked TD, who do you think it's going to be? And TD, thought and asked for schedules of these other teams. And finally, TD just goes, I think it's going to be the Titans. And I said, I think it's going to be the Titans, too. So you're joining TD and I in saying that you think the Titans are going to be the number 1 seed.
I think they're going to be 12-5, and they're going to be the number 1 seed.
One more loss.
One more.
That's a lot of faith in the Titans.
It is. But you know what I think, Jared? And it's kind of like what Long. I think this team is tough. I think these guys are tough.
You get me Derrick Henry back, and I think we can have that kind of discussion.
Listen, they got to have their due.
I know.
They got. I mean, look, if you're going to tell me they're not going to have AJ, Julio, Derrick, and Bud, they're not going to go 12-5. But I'm assuming they're going to get some of these guys back.
Corey Curtis, News 2, as always, presented by Invigorate Health. Corey, appreciate you, as always. We'll talk soon.
All right, have a happy holiday there, Jared. We'll talk to you later.
That is right. Hanukkah is currently going on.
Right.
I hope Corey gets me a great present, which I do appreciate.
I'm going to get you a sweater to match your the one you wear when you're wearing no shirt.
The sweater I wear with no shirt.
I just called you Harry, too.
I got it. Perfect. Appreciate you, Corey Curtis, News 2, as always, on the program. So, it took me a second to get there. He's not wrong, though.
That's gross.
Well, I mean,
Own it.
You got to be what you got to be. I do wonder.
Happy Hanukkah, by the way.
Thank you. I do wonder if these Titan players, we talked about this yesterday a lot with the man in the arena stuff. I do wonder if these Titan players, like the leaders and if everybody on the team hated Derrick Henry, would Derrick Henry be okay with it?
I think Derrick Henry would be totally fine with it.
Do you?
But I will counter.
Do you know that? Do you know what that feeling is like when you're like, hey, I know these people are going to hate me, but I don't care?
Yeah, I know what that feeling is like. But do you think Derrick Henry would care? Because I personally don't think that he would.
I don't really know. Honestly, it's hard to know what is said inside of a locker room and what is not, and that's a cop-out answer.
And it is hard.
I worry that those guys worry about if their teammates like them. But then at the same time, we always have all these discussions that are like, well, we were so close as a team and our chemistry was excellent. And
in Man of the Arena yesterday, they said we got on each other and we knew that it was coming. We knew at the end of the day we were friends and it was all coming from a place of love, but we got on each other and we were serious about it. But, and I know that we talked about this yesterday, and Corey brought it up, that it's a different time. That, you know, like some things just aren't said anymore.
Keep that thought.
Okay.
615-737-1025. We'll get to that next. 615-737-1025. Stillman and Company. Invigorate Health. Online at InvigorateHealthTN.com. They are the exclusive providers of semaglutide. What is semaglutide? It is a weight loss drug for people that cannot shed those pounds. The first of the year is coming for your New Year's resolution, and it is not one of those crazy things that 5 years from now you're going to see an infomercial asking you to be part of a class action lawsuit. How do I know that? Because the FDA has approved semaglutide, and also, on top of it, it's been prescribed for years for diabetics, but it is now semaglutide for people that are suffering from obesity or just are trying to cut pounds. Semaglutide is safe. I have talked to my friends who are internists. I have talked to my own primary care doctor before talking to you, wanting to make sure that it's safe. And the staff at Invigorate Health all take semaglutide so they can answer your questions as well. Talk to their trained physicians, their nurses, InvigorateHealthTN.com. Again, the exclusive provider of semaglutide. I don't want to say it's a miracle drug, but do your own research. Google it out. Semaglutide may be the breakthrough. According to Men's Health Magazine in November, it is the breakthrough for fighting obesity in America. That's semaglutide, and it is carried exclusively at Invigorate Health, online at InvigorateHealthTN.com.
Hi, I'm Jussi Saros. And this is Smashville.
Stopped by Saros. Puck checked away and taken now by Mikhail Gronlund.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 1025. The Game.
Hey, Nashville, get ready to party Smashville style. On February 26th, the Nashville Predators will make history with the first ever outdoor NHL game in Tennessee as they host the 2022 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series. The Preds will take on the back-to-back Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning in front of 70,000 rockin' fans. Visit NHL.com/Stadium Series tickets.
The NFL is heading into the home stretch, and they're giving us a big Week 13 divisional matchup between the Patriots and the Bills, and FanDuel Sportsbook about to make it even bigger. Robbie Stanley here to tell you FanDuel giving new customers 30-1 odds on either team to win. That means you can win $150 on a $5 bet. The Patriots, the hottest team in the NFL right now. Give me the Patriots on the money line. Give me Mac Jones on the under on his passing yards, but you take it any way you want to take it. Offers like this are why I love betting with FanDuel Sportsbook. It's the #1 rated sportsbook app in America, and when you win, you'll get paid in as little as 2 hours. So just sign up with promo code ROB before this Monday night matchup, and you can win $150 on a $5 bet. Remember to use promo code ROB so they know that I sent you. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. New users only. A $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market. A max bonus of $150. Bonus for Tennessee users fulfilled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Touchdown, Leonard Fournette.
Witness tomorrow's NFL stars this December at the TransPerfect Music City Bowl.
Eli back to throw, avoids pressure, steps up, has a man wide open, Armstrong in the end zone, touchdown.
Don't miss a second as two of college football's most exciting programs from the SEC and Big Ten go head-to-head on Thursday, December 30th at 2 p.m. inside Nissan Stadium. For more information on this year's game, including ticket availability, visit MusicCityBowl.com to get your tickets today. Sunday afternoon, it's our NFL Game of the Week. Brought to you by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue.
Let's play some football. Jackson trying to keep it alive. And it's a touchdown! Wow!
Roethlisberger, the corner of the end zone for Johnson. Touchdown.
The Baltimore Ravens visit Pittsburgh for a crucial AFC North showdown. Kickoff at 3:25
on ESPN
1025 The Game.
Hey Nashville, this is Laura Rutledge from the SEC Network, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
All right, we got a lot of work done here today, a lot of situations.
I don't think Bill was ever going to needle us any more than we needled each other. You know what I mean? I think that we would go at each other with 2x4s and, competing and talking.
Belichick loved the competition, and I think he really loved seeing guys compete against one another. He loved the fact that we go out there and try to beat each other up. He loved the fact that there'd be fights. He loved the fact that there'd be guys talking shit to one another. So I think he created that environment because he just wanted to see competition.
And that's a huge competition when you're in there and there's me and there's Rodney, there's Willie, there's Vrabel, there's Pfeiffer.
Ty Warren, Willie McGinnis, Brew, or Vrabel, or Vince Wilfork. Guys on offense like Troy Brown. We'd always say, you're never getting edge on me. I'm gonna outwork you. All those guys, that's what we were. We were the edgers.
We had such a trust and an understanding of who each other was that you could talk a lot of and you could be, as ruthless as you wanted to be.
You weren't held accountable by the coach. You weren't held accountable by the fans. You were held accountable by the guy that was sitting next to you every day.
It wasn't about the more you can do, it was who could do the most.
You think you're coming to the weight room at 6:30 in the morning? I've already got a half hour on you. I've been here since 6.
Not getting it in, huh? I'm getting the edge on you.
Just verbally letting people know out in the open, this is what I did, what'd you do?
You think you got an hour of treatment? I got 2 hours of treatment.
Or when somebody leaves the building, are you leaving already?
Oh, you only watched an hour of film today? I watched 3.
Still not doing the extra. I'm getting the edge on you today.
They look like a machine. Oh, they are.
It takes guts to do that. It takes relationships. It takes courage, too.
That effort, that joy, that enthusiasm that we had, that carried us.
It's another professional football player. I mean, this is a grown man, but I'm going to call you out.
That proved a point. It's like, yeah, this might sound cute, but I'm being really serious right now.
There you go. That was Brady Vrabel and Teddy Bruschi in the Man in the Arena ESPN Plus. The Edge. Talking about the Edgers. Oh, you're not showing up early? Well, I've already got an hour on you. Which, by the way, I'm gonna tell you what, I've worked with people that when you do stuff like that, they get the message real quick, and I've worked with people in my life who just don't, who take offense that you would say something like that. Like, don't tell me what to do. I've done it both. Both ways. I will say this. We talked about this with Corey. We talked about this yesterday, the Titan players. You have to be willing to have people not like you if you're going to act like that. Now, the Patriots got lucky because they got a lot of guys in there who all at the same time could talk to each other in one way. And then it was kind of like, well, who are you to not act that way because Willie McGinnis, Mike Vrabel, Teddy Bruschi, Tom Brady do? But I do wonder, and you brought this up, in the day and age that we live in, can these Titan players, can they live with the fact if their teammates don't like them? Can David Quessenberry, as an example, can he be like, or Ben Jones, can those guys say, yeah, I don't care what Taylor says. I don't care what Taylor thinks. I don't care if Taylor goes home and complains to his wife all day because I'm on his ass. And I don't care if Taylor gets on his podcast and complains about me, and I don't care. I don't care. It's easy to say that you're willing to do that. And this goes back to the Michael Jordan thing where Michael Jordan said if you don't get on his level, he's going to ridicule you until you do. And that is not a very popular thing to do. It's very easy to say, I'm willing to make decisions that are unpopular. It's another thing to do it every day. And I'm not saying the Titans don't do it, but in this day and age, I think we're all trained to want people to like everything that we do. We want people to like our photos on Instagram and Facebook. We want people to agree with us on Twitter. You'll be surprised. No, I don't care if people agree with me on Twitter or not.
That doesn't surprise me.
That doesn't really bother me. But it's easy. It's a lot easier to say, hey, I want to be the guy in town that everybody disagrees with all the time. It's a lot easier to say it than it is to be it.
And I do think that times have changed. That some people, that there are some people that can't really take the tell it like it is kind of mentality. But has football really changed that much? And football has changed. I mean, there's an openly gay player in the NFL, and he's celebrated, not just tolerated. He is celebrated. And that is something that maybe 20 years ago that necessarily wouldn't have been the case. So football has changed. But the mentality of winning is the only thing that matters, and we're willing to do whatever it takes to win. Has that mentality changed? I don't think it has across the league.
Who won the Super Bowl last year?
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Who's your quarterback?
Tom Brady.
Has his mentality changed?
No.
Okay. So I think that's, again, I don't know what Kansas City's like. I think Kansas City's kind of a different place. I think, those teams that party crazy, like the Raiders back in the day, and Jerry Jones's Cowboys with Michael Irvin doing all that cocaine, getting out there on that football field. I think those kind of teams do things differently. But I think like hey, let's button it up, go to work teams. I think that those are the teams that guys are willing to get on each other. And I'm going to say this about the Predators because I feel comfortable in saying this. And I have been criticized for having said this before. And I like Roman Josi a lot. I think he's a great player. I think he's a hard worker. I think everybody respects him. But it changed when Mike Fisher left. It changed. And I think to some of that extent, like sometimes guys just can't take it. We live in a society where those guys, their lives are envied to be in the NFL. And guess what? Those Patriot teams, they don't care about being in the NFL. It was never a thing to Willie McGinnis of like, wow, I'm in the NFL. Let me go out and have everybody tell me how great I am. That doesn't matter to Willie McGinnis. And it doesn't matter to Derrick Henry. But does Derrick get that message through to everybody else? And that's just something that I don't think we'll ever know. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Let's hit some headlines with Caroline, and we'll do that coming up next here on a Fireball Hot Take Friday, 615-737-1025. Go to theGameNashville.com/deals to check out Nashville's best deals. Deals include half-off gift cards to these great locations like the Nashville Armory, Brooklyn Bowl Nashville, the Beanbag Coffee and Tea Shop, 312 Pizza Company in Germantown, and Fat Cat Slims in the Gulch. Get your deal now at theGameNashville.com/deals.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Lots of sunshine this afternoon, highs in the upper 60s and lower 70s. This weekend will turn cooler and bring scattered storms back to the forecast, and it stays that way next week.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Audible is best-selling audiobooks, exclusive originals, and podcasts all in one app. This holiday season, treat yourself with 60% off your first 3 months. Just visit audible.com for more details.
Do you really want to go through another year with that awful joint pain? Well, don't do it. Resolve right now to get yourself moving again for 2022. Willie Donick here. It's time to call the folks at QC Kinetics. Non-surgical, regenerative treatments for joint pain. We're talking lasting results using natural biologics. No surgery, no pain meds, no steroids, and no downtime. This is really exciting stuff. Regenerative, restorative treatments that actually encourage your body to heal itself using highly concentrated natural biologics. Patients rave about it for hip pain relief, knee pain relief, shoulder and back pain relief. Don't let them give you the steroids. Don't let them tell you your surgery is the only option. Get a free second opinion at QC Kinetics and do it now. And imagine life in 2022 without pain. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics.
Hose and Belting Specialties in Murfreesboro is your local source for hydraulic, air, water, and chemical hoses, along with conveyor, timing, and metric belt needs. They stock metric fittings for both air and hydraulic applications. Hose and Belting Specialties stocks Parker hydraulic hoses and fittings, Goodyear Conti-Tech industrial hoses, and V-belts, just to name a few of their lines. For any of your industrial needs, call 615-895-HOSE. 615-895-HOSE.
Attention Nice List recipients, the Mercedes-Benz winter event is here. Make this season your reason. Forget the halls, deck the garage. Hark, the turbo engines sing. Like hot cocoa in a blizzard, this opportunity won't last long. Hurry for these exclusive offers from Nashville's two-time Best of the Best award-winning Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Just one exit from the airport. Go to mbofmc.com.
At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, their physicians are specialty trained orthopedists that treat injuries and disorders of the upper extremities. Not all painful conditions require surgery. Therefore, their physicians look for non-surgical solutions first. Depending on your condition, you can be treated with a brace, splint, anti-inflammatory medications, rehabilitation, or if necessary, surgery. To experience world-class orthopedic care, visit tn.houston.com, where experience matters.
Robbie Stanley.
That size and that speed just doesn't grow on trees. That could be something that you could really turn into.
Joe Rexrode.
Just hold out and somebody will call in the bad signal.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10. Presented by Volunteer State Bank on Nashville's Best Sports Talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You're listening to Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Big college football weekend. Silly underdog picks presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket. Pick 3 football underdog teams you think will win this week for a chance to win tickets to an upcoming sporting event or concert. Go to thegamenashville.com to play for more details. Silly underdog picks brought to you by Volunteer Hose and Gasket. By the way, we've got to get to this, and we will in the next hour. Caroline's coach at LSU.
Don't call him my coach.
Oh, he is your coach.
He's not my coach. He coaches at the school that I went to. He is not my coach.
Your coach.
Hashtag not my coach.
Ian, is Brian Kelly her coach?
Most definitely.
Your coach.
Ian?
Your coach.
It's a great day to be a Tiger.
I cannot
You're
wait.
from Massachusetts.
I cannot wait. Cannot wait. But first, headlines. Caroline.
We're spanning the sports world. It's Headlines with Caroline on Stillman and Company. Right here on Nashville's Best Sports Talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What headlines we got there, Caroline?
So we learned yesterday that Antonio Brown, among one current Buccaneer and a former Buccaneer, will get a 3-game suspension from the NFL for submitting fake vaccination cards to the league. And of course, Bruce Arians was asked about it today. Bruce Arians said that he believes the NFL needs to take a closer look at other teams after 2 of his players, of course, Antonio Brown and Mike Edwards, were found to have provided fake vaccination cards. He said, we've done everything. There's a lot more to that story. I just hope they don't stop looking. So a reporter asked if there are other issues throughout the league, and Bruce Arians said, maybe.
So the way you said it and the way that maybe it went down, I probably need to hear the audio, but I will say this. I think the NFL's got to put in a rule. If I'm king of sports, just like how I put in that new rule that wouldn't allow Brian Kelly to go to LSU.
Sports would be so unfun if you
But
were
if I'm king of sports, I am making a rule that if somebody gets in trouble for something on the field, that just like how you get fined if you criticize an official, you get fined if you accuse nameless other people of doing something just vaguely. Right? Remember the John Gruden emails when Derek Carr was like, well, I think if we opened up everybody's emails, we'd see something. That's not how that works, Derek.
Yeah.
That's not how it works.
We're not looking into everyone else's emails.
Everybody else does this, so it's okay that I did it. Not how that works. I got to say this. And we didn't break this down enough because we had a lot going on yesterday when the news broke. And then Joe got on his soapbox about Antonio Brown. Look, I'm pretty anti-COVID, as far as like the people that are like, it's nothing more than the flu. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's pro-COVID.
No, but like,
I hear
I'm
what
vaccinated.
you're saying.
I got the booster. If they tell me to wear a mask, I wear the mask, and I don't complain about it. And I understand that it's killed a lot of people, and I understand that it's real, and that it's not going away. I understand all that. But like the pearl clutching of like, AB put all these people, lives at risk. Like, you're not going to get through to anybody by saying that. And Joe yesterday, boy, did he get mad about that.
I mean, it's true that you are going to put people at risk if you lie about being vaccinated. But I
nobody
think
who's not vaccinated is
the
going to listen to
league
you
is
say
looking
that.
into different things. Yes,
but 3 games? Like seriously, 3 games?
But
that's what they gave AB?
And I can't believe...
Suspend his ass for the rest of the season, please.
I can't assume that the league has any sort of rule written in the books about this because this has never happened before. I have to assume. But the league is also setting a precedent that if you explicitly lie about anything, if you forge a federal document, that it's going to be a slap on the wrist.
Did we think 3 games was not enough?
I do not think 3 games was enough.
Ian?
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
AB 3 games, too many or not enough?
I would probably give him more. Is it not I mean, it's hard to know without all the details, but I think it is a felony, right?
I'd suspend him for the rest of the season.
I mean, it's forging a federal document.
I'd say you can't play. If you put in a fake vax card for 2021, you can't play the rest of 2021.
Like, don't you go to jail if you have a fake ID?
I think it's like certain states, yes. But I think it's like certain states have different rules, or I don't know what.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm
I'm
glad that I don't know. But
if I'm Goodell, and I would have said it too, if I was Goodell, I'd have released a statement. And I'd have said, we'll assess this at the end of 2021. But for 2021, if you have a fake Vax card and we find out about it, you're out for the rest of the season.
it's also just dumb.
You're done.
It's just dumb
but
to do.
that's if I'm the king of sports, and I'm not. What's next?
Notre Dame named their new head coach. You were just mentioning LSU's
Your
new
coach.
head coach. LSU's new head coach. Brian Kelly, obviously leaving Notre Dame to go to LSU. Notre Dame filled that void with Marcus Freeman, their defensive coordinator. He's like 34, 35 years old.
35.
So 35 years old, so huge for him. So he, as defensive coordinator, the Irish ranked 6th nationally in interceptions with 15, defensive touchdowns with 4, 7th in total sacks with 40, 11th in turnovers gained with 23, and scoring defense with 18.2, averaging 18.2 points a game. So, I mean, Marcus Freeman has been able to completely flip Notre Dame's defense. He said it's an
Flip
honor.
it from what?
I mean, maybe not flip it, but improve it.
Improve it from what?
What it was before.
They were in the playoff last year with a great defense.
Okay, and it was also a great defense this year, too.
So he didn't flip or improve anything. He just kept it the same. Here's the question I'll say. If you're Clark Lee, are you sick to your stomach today? Because, and I shouldn't say today, were you sick to your stomach 3 days ago? Because if Clark turns down the Vanderbilt job to stay defensive coordinator at Notre Dame, which I don't think anybody would have been mad at Clark Lee for doing. I don't think anybody would have looked at Clark Lee and said, what in the world would you do that for? It's not like he turned down Georgia in order to stay defensive coordinator at Notre Dame. If he turns down Vanderbilt to stay defensive coordinator at Notre Dame, he probably becomes the coach in waiting at Notre Dame. And if Brian Kelly's out, Clark Lee's probably the head coach at Notre Dame today. So instead, Clark Lee gets to go, 2-9 this year? Clark Lee has a terrible season this year. They're 0-8. I think Clark's a good guy. I think he's smart. I think he's a good coach. I don't know if he can turn Vanderbilt around. That's just impossibly hard job. He'd be the head coach of Notre Dame today. And my whole point with this is timing is everything. It wasn't like the Notre Dame defense was just terrible. And then Marcus Freeman got in there and saved Notre Dame. They were in the playoff last year with a great defense with Clark Lee. And so Tommy Rees, their offensive coordinator, who's like 28 years old, and Marcus Freeman, who's 35 years old, they're getting the keys to Notre Dame. And I'm like, look, I hope it works out. I have no idea if it will or if it won't. But, man, Clark Lee. Oh, it's tough timing. It's tough. Oh, that's tough on Clark Lee.
And speaking of timing, I mean, Notre Dame said, they came out outwardly and said, we're going to take our time with our coaching search. We're not going to dive into anything too quickly. But, I mean, this was a fairly quick move, promoting Marcus Freeman from defensive coordinator to head coach. But they kind of had to move quickly because Brian Kelly was trying to get Tommy Rees, the recruiting coordinator, the strength and conditioning coach, Matt Ballas. They was trying to bring all of them to LSU. So I think Notre Dame saw that, and they were like, nope, you can leave, but everyone else is staying put.
I think what Notre Dame did is what everybody else can't seem to do, which is they went about their business and probably kept their mouth shut the whole time. I mean, Jack Swarback, the athletic director, had a press conference. He basically said, we knew for months that Brian Kelly was going to leave. Like,
really?
Yeah, he was like, we knew. He came to us, about opportunities, and we just knew that we're not surprised by it. We kind of saw this coming. Here's what I think happened. They picked up the phone, and they said, hey, Luke, you want to come? No. Okay, you're in. I think that's what happened. Because when I saw Tommy Rees had been given all this money to stay at Notre Dame, I was like, Marcus Freeman's going to be the head coach. Because what you can't do is you can't pay Tommy Rees all this money
and then
go try to bring in Luke Fickell.
Yeah.
Like Luke Fickell's bringing his own coach in here. So I wasn't surprised by that. But I mean, just when I saw go watch the Jack Swarback press conference if you have some time. I'm sure it's up on YouTube. I mean, the level of indifference that this man has to Brian Kelly leaving, I thought was like, wow. He was just like an old pawpaw just standing there at the press conference, not even wearing a tie, shirt not even ironed. He's just sitting there with a jacket on, just like, yeah, we thought he was going to leave because he came to us a couple weeks ago, and we just figured, it wasn't going to work out. And so, I'm not surprised by it. And if you see the leaked video of Brian Kelly talking to the players?
Oh, yeah, it was to the Notre Dame players?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad.
So Swarback just got up there and was like, hey, Coach wants to talk to you guys. And then, he gets up there and leaves, and then Swarback just gets right back. Like, Swarback's level, like when there's a breakup, even if you're the person who didn't do the breaking up, like if there's a breakup and one person doesn't care and the other person gets mad because that person doesn't care.
Right.
And it's like, I got to tell you, maybe Swarback's not trying to – it doesn't feel like he cares that Brian Kelly left, which is crazy.
And probably the way in which he left was bad. Maybe Brian Kelly, and I can probably assume he was probably a tough person to work with.
But
so Jack Swarbrick probably saw that and said, okay.
Is it but the Notre Dame athletic director.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
The Notre Dame athletic director, if somebody's hard to work with, is like, you got to get football right. So even if he said that he knew for a couple of weeks, and said he wasn't surprised.
This has been in the works probably for a while.
This is not something that he would be upset with Brian Kelly about. This would be, we thought you were going to do it, and he did it. What's next?
The NCAA Football Oversight Committee approved.
What is that?
I don't know. Approved a one-time bowl game this year, the 42nd bowl game this year, ensuring that no bowl-eligible team was left out. So the Red Box Bowl in San Francisco is not going to happen this year, which would have been the 83rd or 84th.
Because of COVID or because no one uses Red Box anymore?
Maybe a sprinkle of both. But there were 83 teams that finished with a bowl-eligible record. So Hawaii finished 6-7, but they played 13 games. So college football decided, they could say, oh, maybe they're eligible, maybe they're not, but they ultimately decided that they were. So they approved a one-time bowl game to ensure that all bowl-eligible teams were able to have a bowl berth. So the newly created 84th spot expanded the lineup. Hawaii will go to the Hawaii Bowl, which Memphis initially accepted, but Memphis will go to a different game. The new bowl technically replaces the Red Box Bowl, but the date has not been announced quite yet. So this bowl is just, in place so everyone can play a bowl game. If you're 6 and whatever, you can play a bowl game.
I was looking at the bowl games today. I saw there's a Jimmy Kimmel Bowl. I saw there is a Barstool Sports Bowl.
There is a Barstool. I think it's in Arizona, maybe?
I saw there were so many companies I have never heard of that are sponsoring some of these bowls. Louisville, my school, we're projected to go to the Cure Bowl.
What is that?
I don't know. It's in Orlando, apparently.
Every bowl's in Orlando. It's either in Orlando or somewhere in Texas.
Well, it's nice weather where they have hotels.
Yeah, well, when LSU played in Orlando.
Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, which, by the way, the Sun Bowl is the worst bowl in all the bowls.
Why?
In El Paso, Texas.
I mean, Shreveport, Louisiana.
Oh, I'd rather go to Shreveport than El Paso.
Have you been to Shreveport?
I have not, but El Paso, no thank you. So, the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, I mean, it's bad. It's bad. These bowl games, I'll tell you. Those are
Duke's
headlines.
Mayo Bowl. It's just a pretty good bowl. But
That's the Belk Bowl, right?
Yeah. The one in Charlotte.
Belk's out?
Belk's out. Duke's Mayo's in. The Idaho Potato Bowl.
Why doesn't Belk? See, at least that makes sense.
Well, yes, but it's funny.
That's like, when they started getting corporate sponsors and they had the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, and I'm like,
that makes sense.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Coming up next, Stillman and Company right here on ESPN 102. College football this weekend. So, I have a theory about the way the fans are starting to treat college football. And I think it's really bad for the sport, and this weekend might have to be the weekend that does it. I'll explain next. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 102 The Game.
The MTSU Blue Raiders live here.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee! 3-ball, yes, sir!
And when you're in the borough, tune us in on 97.5.
In the end zone, caught, touchdown!
We are Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Contest rules for 102.5 The Game and ESPN 94.9, including on-air, online, and text-based contests, are available by visiting the contest rules page at thegamenashville.com. Good luck and thanks for listening to 102.5 The Game and ESPN 94.9.
Your home value is way up. Why not use it to make your home even nicer with a new kitchen or bathroom? Hey, Willie here. So many of our listeners are doing this with Loan Pronto, thanks to their zero-cost cash-out refi program. Call Loan Pronto now. They're fast-tracking home refis for the year-end. and people are getting checks for 60, 70, 100 grand or more. It's fast and easy. It's your money, money you can use to add even more value to your home. Imagine 2022 with that all-new luxurious kitchen you've been dreaming about, or start building that pool so it's going to be ready for the summer. Call Loan Pronto now. See how easy it is to use the equity in your home and walk away with the big check. They can even pay your closing costs, and you can skip your next 2 house payments. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
It's Cyber Week at Electronic Express, but the deals aren't just online. We're bringing big savings on everything in the store. Get the hottest gifts like 4K TVs, computers and gaming, smart home, housewares, and more. That's not all. Upgrade your kitchen just in time for the holiday season with huge savings on all appliances. Plus, buy now, pay later with up to 36 months free financing. Get Cyber Monday prices all week long at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Hillside Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? Well, we have a major medical breakthrough. The Wave technology at Hillside Medical Clinic was tested by Cambridge University and the Cleveland Clinic, and the results are in. It's proven to increase blood flow by repairing blood vessels. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED by treating the root cause, call us now. And not only will the assessment and blood flow ultrasound be free, we'll also include something unique that produces powerful results in the bedroom. I don't think I've ever seen it fail. This is a $600 value, free to those that call in the next 2 minutes. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. 615-576-5000.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at theGameNashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Fireball Hot Take Friday. You know what I love is we've gotten really combative now where people just say the media. And I do this sometimes too, so I'm not perfect. But they just say, the media says. The media says, what are you talking about? I mean, ESPN has a panel of 4 people. They always pick 4 different answers. Floyd told me when he was on NFL Live, they'd be in production meetings, and they'd say, okay, we're going to do a segment today on who's going to win the NFC East. So what do we think? And if all 3 guys in the room said Cowboys, one of the guys had to change it because they had to talk about somebody else. So what is it? The media? The media is hiding from you you mean like ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox all get together and say, hey, we want to be the same? And that CNN and Fox News are getting together saying, hey, they're huddling up in the corner. Just like Drew Brees would take the Saints and say, all right, I write Z90 Eagle shoot Queen XX wide, ready, break. Have a hard time believing that. But there are some times where the media affects things, and you can use that giant overriding topic, the media, and have it go forward. I see the way college football is covered, and I think that college football is covered differently for 2 separate people. I'm a college football fan, but I don't wake up every morning and think, college football. I understand there's a lot of people in Birmingham, Alabama that operate differently, that do wake up every morning, that do know every assistant coach, who's the best recruiter, who's talking to this 16-year-old junior in Florida, who they're going to try to pull out of Mississippi. They're going to do all that. I'm a college football fan who likes to watch the games on Saturdays and sit there and say, Harbaugh with the big win. What's it mean for Harbaugh? And what I mean by this is I almost feel like the obsessiveness of one set of college football fans and the way the media is starting to cover the sport is starting to ruin the sport for what college football is all about. And I'll give you an example. This weekend could be an incredible weekend. Georgia plays Alabama. Now, I think Georgia is going to win. And I think most people think Georgia's going to win. They're the most dominant team in college football this year. But guess what? What if Alabama wins? That changes a lot, right? Michigan plays Iowa. I've heard Colin Cowherd say 6 times this week, Michigan's going to thump Iowa. I don't know that for a fact. I don't watch Iowa play enough. But what if Iowa wins that game? Then what? Cincinnati plays an AAC championship game against Houston. These games matter. And yet, the way I feel like college football is covered, we act like they don't matter at all. We act like they're foregone conclusion. Georgia, Michigan, Cincinnati will win their game, and then if Oklahoma State, they could jump them, but Oklahoma State has to win their game. And I don't know. What if Alabama beats Georgia by 60 tomorrow? Don't you feel a little different than if Alabama wins in triple overtime? We got to play the games, guys. When I look at the NFL, the games are all that matters. I know free agency's popular to talk about, and the draft is fun and gets really good ratings. But the NFL draft is not bigger to NFL fans than NFL games. Notre Dame might make the playoff. It's an outside chance. But Ohio State was in the same boat in 2014, and they won the national championship. And their coach leaves to go to LSU. Why? Because of recruiting. Because if you miss out on recruiting season and coach hiring season, then you won't be able to compete in the games. But Notre Dame still might play for a national championship. But the diehards of college football, led by the media that covers it, and thus pushed for the early signing period and supported the early signing period and everything else that has made recruiting season so much bigger. That has changed the fundamental aspect of the sport. The playoff has changed the sport. We got Greg Sankey beating the drum like there's no tomorrow, wanting 12 teams so he can get 3 SEC teams into the college football playoff. But that's all about the money. And I hate this for college football because I feel like in the NBA, games don't really matter. Remember back when Jordan played? Or even remember when Kobe and Shaq played? The games mattered. It was like, man, are Kobe and Shaq going to beat Sacramento? But now in the NBA, it's all about, well, the Lakers aren't good enough to win the championship, so who can they add to go with LeBron that can get them over the top? Remember how, like, in back-to-back years, LeBron was a free agent, and then the next year, like, Anthony Davis and Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and all these guys were free agents, and all they talked about was, when Golden State's season is over, where's Kevin Durant going to go? But it takes away from the games. And the NBA's already decided they want to do that, so they can go knock themselves out doing that. I worry that baseball has decided, you know what, we care more about the money than we do anything else. Let's sign deals with Fox and TBS so that none of our major playoff games until the World Series are actually on broadcast television. But hey, we're getting paid. You know, let's put a game of the week on every single night. Let's get our own network that doesn't criticize the teams at all, and there's no drama in the sport anymore. And let's just go ahead and do that and not worry about the popularity of baseball, but let's go ahead and make a bunch of money. Baseball's decided that's what they're going to do. They already locked out the players. They took their pictures off of MLB.com. But college football's different. College football's about the games. This is a great weekend of games. The playoff, I hope it's going to be fun. You know, Cincinnati plays Michigan if they do in the playoff. I think that's going to be a fun game. I want to see, you know, can that offensive line of Michigan that just dominated Ohio State, can Cincinnati hang? What if Alabama gets in? Let's say Oklahoma State loses, Alabama plays Georgia close, and we get a college football playoff of the 4 teams that are in it now, in whatever order. So you've got Georgia, Michigan, Alabama, Cincinnati. I mean, I'd love to see Cincinnati try to go up against Alabama. Michigan, and the way they played against Ohio State, you got Nick Saban. Let's see. But it feels like there's so much talk about all this other stuff that it's cheapening the excitement of the games. Notre Dame's a proud program. If a couple of these teams lose and knock themselves out and Notre Dame gets in, they deserve to be there. And Marcus Freeman's going to be their head coach. Because the games aren't important enough. But recruiting season is. And I think with most things in life, you have 2 target audiences. You have your base audience that will love you no matter what. Baseball, if they actually go on a legitimate lockout strike and they miss games, I'll still probably watch, but you won't. But you got a target base audience, and then you've got everybody else. And I think when you're college football, you want to play to the masses. So a big game with a lot of juice. Saban versus Harbaugh in the playoff would produce mega ratings. 2 storied programs, 2 famous coaches. It would be huge. Because the average person that's a sports fan has to watch Saban versus Harbaugh. Diehard college football fans going to watch that no matter what. But the diehard college football fans have made recruiting season as important as the games. Again, I love the NFL draft. I'd much rather watch football than watch the draft. And now we got coaches that are more worried about recruiting season than they are the actual season. So that base college football fan and that fandom of 24/7 that has then led up to the media, which has then gotten the coaches' early signing period, which has now seeped into perhaps the college football playoff itself, is now cheapening the games. And when we add to 12 teams for the playoff, if that's what they do, or we add more teams to get into the playoff, it's going to cheapen the games even more. You know, in a 12-team playoff, the first round matchup would be Ohio State and Michigan. Well, then, big deal that game last weekend was Alabama, we all watched. 10 million people across the country watch Alabama play Auburn. Great game. We all watched and we all knew Alabama's season was on the line. Is Alabama's season on the line if we go to 12? Probably not. So, I just would say this. I understand. Basketball, the NBA, they took the money. Baseball, they took the money in the MLB, and they want more of it. College football, they're all going for the money. But don't ruin the games. The NFL cares about money too. But somehow, they don't ruin their sport. And I think that's the thing college football's got to understand. The games. It should be about the games. And look at the games that we've got this weekend. I'm excited. I mean, I'm pumped. I couldn't give 2 poops about Iowa football, but that's going to be a great game. Iowa versus Michigan, because Michigan's got so much riding on it. And Iowa's going into that game thinking, let's knock them out. And that's what college football should be like. I remember when I was in the 7th grade, and Oklahoma was really, really good. There were 3 teams, Oklahoma, LSU, and USC, and they were all really good. And Oklahoma was the number 1 team in the country, and I believe they were the defending national champions. And Darren Sproles and Kansas State knocked them off in the Big 12 championship. It was awesome. That's what college football's about. When you think about what makes college football great, you think of marching bands and you think of packed stadiums and you think of Vince Young in Texas versus Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, and USC. You don't think about recruiting season. And that's where I just hope the sport understands where they're headed. Be careful. Remember the one and done. Now, that wasn't college basketball's rule. That was the NBA. But one and done has ruined that sport. Don't ruin college football. 615-737-1025. We'll get to your reactions on that. We'll get to Caroline's reaction. Plus, SEC championship game. We got a game this weekend. Georgia and Alabama to get excited about. Stillman and Company, Fireball Hot Take Friday. It's ESPN 1025 The Game. And, of course, we are streaming, as always, on the Game Nashville app.
1025 The Game and Cromwell Media are teaming up with Souls for Souls this holiday season for Souls for Music City.
Thank you to everyone who's helping us.
Every $20 donation equals a brand new pair of athletic shoes for a local child experiencing homelessness in Middle Tennessee.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Log on to thegamenashville.com/shoes to learn more on how you can help bring a smile to a child's face at a time of need. Souls for Music City is brought to you by Newton Motor Group.
Thank you so much.
Some people think fall is the best time of the year. It may also be a great time to consider getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Sponsored by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Are you worried about your holiday shopping and your gift arriving in time? The Omni Nashville Hotel has a great idea for you. How about gift cards to their world-renowned Mocara Spa or Nashville's fine dining favorite, Bob's Steak and Chop House? Surprise your loved ones and friends with this special gift idea and take out the hustle and bustle of fighting traffic and long lines this holiday season. Simply go to OmniNashvilleHotel.com to purchase your gift cards. That's OmniNashvilleHotel.com for gift cards to Mocara Spa or Bob's Steak and Chop House.
It's the 12 days of Christmas at Genesis Diamonds with the best gift ever. 5 years, 0 interest financing. That's right. For the first 12 days of December, you get the unbeatable Genesis value price, plus 0 interest financing for 5 years with nothing down. Shop early for Christmas and get that $5,000 pair of diamond stud earrings for just $84 a month. Or that $6,000 diamond eternity band, just $100 a month. Our showcases are stocked with the best holiday gifts. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, colored gemstone jewelry, unique handcrafted one-of-a-kind gifts that are sure to be the headliner gift at your house this Christmas. And now through December 12th, everything's affordable with 5 years, 0 interest financing. How about splurging on a $10,000 tennis bracelet and paying just $167 a month? Don't miss this special finance offer now through December 12th. Merry Christmas from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit, see store for details.
Treating erectile dysfunction with acoustic wave therapy has been getting a lot of attention lately. But you should know that some are promising results we just haven't seen and charging a lot of money for the treatments as well. This is Kim for the Tennessee Men's Clinic. And if you're looking at acoustic wave therapy or any option to help your ED, you really should call us first. Unlike wave therapy only clinics, the Tennessee Men's Clinic wave therapy protocols do use acoustic wave technology. But we also often combine it with other treatments that can give most of our patients far higher satisfaction rates. There is no surgery nor any type of invasive procedure required. And even better, depending on your treatment strategy and with our urologist and provider's guidance, you can likely have sex the day after your appointment. We even have other treatments that can help you last up to an hour. Plus, for a limited time, we're waiving our normal appointment charge, which includes a PSA and T test, and offering a free ultrasound, altogether nearly a $400 value, for free. So make an appointment today. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra results vary.
We've lost so many people to COVID. So many moms and dads, favorite uncles, older sisters, and best friends. But vaccines can help prevent serious illness and death from COVID in more than 9 out of 10 cases. So now almost all COVID deaths are preventable, and so are the broken hearts they leave behind. We can do this. Find COVID vaccines near you at vaccines.gov. That's vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
Coach, I don't know, I'll ask you, but there doesn't seem to be an easy way to separate from players that you recruited. I know what you said to your team the other day, but a lot of people are criticizing you for doing it so quickly, for leaving a team that not theoretically, still in the playoff hunt. How do you answer those who have criticized you for that?
It was my choice. I own that choice, Paul. There's no easy way to do this. The group of people that I got a chance to coach, whether it was at Central Michigan when I went to Cincinnati, or from Cincinnati when I went to Notre Dame, and now from Notre Dame to Louisiana State University, it's never easy. It's very difficult. I loved all those boys at every one of those programs, and I put my heart and soul into it. But there's never really an easy way to do it. The way to do it is to get in front of them. I was fortunate that I was able to get in front of this football team that I loved and get a chance to tell them, what I was doing. And that's the only way. But I own the decision. I own everything around it. But there's never really an easy way to do it.
There you go. That was Brian Kelly back when he still had a regular accent on the Paul Feinbaum show.
Yeah, crazy how quickly that changes.
So I saw someone text in, and it is a Fireball Hot Take Friday. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. I saw somebody said, are Jared's old man rants written or just off the top of his head? Either way, they are always impressive. Honestly, I didn't think I was going to rant about cheapening of college football, but it does bother me. Like, it does bother me. And it bothers me that it's like the games, people just make assumptions. I think what's crazy is we spend all year talking about, who's the best team and who's this and who's that. The NFL is 5 months long because February is like a month, like a week and a half. So the NFL is a 5-month season. So for 7 months, there's no football. And yet we talk every day around the country about football. And then all of a sudden we start playing games and it's like, the Arizona Cardinals might actually be a pretty good football team. Oh, shocking. Wow. Teams we thought were going to be good aren't. I feel like for me, this is something that I try to look at, and I'm like, okay. I just feel like college football, they're taking away value from the games. And here's another thing that bothers me, because I feel like college football is following the path of MLB and NBA. That interview with Brian Kelly was Paul Feinbaum. Now, I haven't listened to the interview, so maybe I can't criticize Feinbaum. But Feinbaum works for the Lego Network, and Feinbaum is essentially an employee of the Southeastern Conference. And here he is talking to Brian Kelly. And I don't know how many contentious interviews Brian Kelly wanted to do, but I'm guessing that one wasn't one of them.
Probably.
Do you think Feinbaum said, Coach, what if your team makes the playoffs? Are you a quitter? Probably not something that he asked. I have a buddy that works for the MLB Network. I told him, I said, what my biggest issue with MLB Network was, and it hit me during the World Series. And I said, right now, ESPN barely covers baseball. Like, how many baseball analysts does ESPN have? They have Tim Kurchin, Eduardo Perez,
Jeff
Buster
Passan.
Olney, Jeff Passan's their insider, but sure, throw him in there, and A-Rod. Like, that's all they got now.
They got June Lee.
I don't even know who that is.
Jessica Mendoza, she's still there?
Jessica Mendoza.
I think she's still there. But, like, when I was a kid, they had on SportsCenter, they had Baseball Tonight every night. There's
Clinton Yates, too. He's an analyst as well.
When does he cover baseball?
Almost exclusively.
No, he's on those like Around the Horns and stuff like that.
Yeah, he does baseball.
No, they don't. No, they don't even talk baseball in Around the Horn.
Yes, he covers baseball.
Doing what?
He does Baseball Tonight on digital. That's where I worked with Clinton, and he writes for ESPN.com. He does baseball articles.
Okay, well, nobody goes. I mean, no disrespect, but like when we talk ESPN, like I'm talking like the guys they're putting on TV.
He's not on SportsCenter, but he covers baseball.
Like, think about this: for baseball, just the average fan. How many people know those guys? Like, I'm sure they know, like, A-Rod.
And they know Tim Kurchin, probably.
Tim Kurchin.
He's been around forever.
Buster.
And Jeff Passan.
But that's not the same. The basketball countdown crew, Wilbon, Stephen A. Smith, Magic Johnson, like, it's different. And I think the thing that I was telling my buddy at MLB Network is basically ESPN doesn't care that much about baseball anymore, so they're sliding all that over to MLB Network. Well, it's a league-owned network, so they're not going to be critical. You're not going to turn on MLB Network and see people talk about, hey, The owners are a bunch of cheap asses who don't want to pay the players what the players are due. But you could see that if it were not a league-owned network. And I worry that college football, I think it's starting to head a little bit that way, where it's like, well, let's put them on the ACC network that's owned by the league. Let's put them on the SEC network. And I think controversy is good for sports. I truly do. I think sports are a soap opera, and I think you need controversy. But again, we got great games. We got great college football games. And somehow I think the diehard college football fan that cares as much about recruiting season is I'm worried that they're kind of cheapening the actual games themselves.
Well, there's one thing that you touched on in the last segment that I want to talk about. And you said, Alabama-Auburn was such a great game. I mean, period. But it was even more interesting because Alabama's season was on the line. And if the playoff was expanded to 12 teams, it wouldn't have been as interesting. And I would agree with you on that. And I want to preface this with I am not in favor of a 12-team playoff. But to that, I've also heard you complain in college football about how on September 30th, your season could be done if you start your season 0-2 or whatever it may be. You have 2 losses, your season is done because you most likely are not in contention for a national championship. And that's what a 12-team playoff would do. And I understand that there are pros and cons to both keeping it how it is and expansion. But you can't be in the side of, Alabama-Auburn wouldn't have been nearly as exciting because Alabama's season wouldn't have been on the line in a 12-team playoff. And also be on the side of, college football isn't great anymore because your season could be over on September 30th.
No, I think that's bigger for the individual fan bases, more so than it is for the actual sport. If it were up to me, I'd go to 2 teams before I'd go to 12. I'd rather do 2. Because could you imagine what the discussion would be about who should be the number 2 team this year? If it were Georgia, there'd be complaining every day about Michigan and Cincinnati, and what if Alabama beats Georgia, and then what? I'd rather have 2. Because when we had 2, there were every now and then you'd get, USC's made-up national championship that they didn't win. But I do feel like I want to go to 8. I'm fine with 8.
I think 8's good.
I'm fine with 8 because tonight the Pac-12 championship is on. Who's playing in the Pac-12 championship?
Utah and Oregon.
I didn't even know that.
Well,
and I don't need to know that.
Well, that's the thing is you don't need to know that because they are not going to get into the college football playoff,
right?
Most likely.
But if you go to 8,
then it would be important.
Then it's an automatic qualifier.
Yes.
And I'd rather do that. Now the SEC is going to say no to that, and the SEC carries a big stick. But this goes back to my theory that you can't just take the money. I got to tell you, Greg Sankey, I like Greg fine. I really. And I say this like, I'm talking about Greg the guy. I think he's a smart guy. I think he's a nice guy. He's always been nice to me. I think Greg Sankey's kind of a fraud. And I'm starting to get a little bit too annoyed with this.
In what way?
Because I don't think Greg Sankey gives a damn about anything except the bottom line. I had Greg Sankey come on the radio show when Will Wade's FBI wiretaps came out. We were at the SEC basketball tournament. It was here in Nashville. He comes on the show. We used to joke that we do a home and home with Greg Sankey because we'd go to Birmingham for SEC Media Days. He'd come on the show, and then when he was here in Nashville, he'd come on the show. And I mean, he was adamant about the cheating and how you don't need to cheat to win in the SEC and how he won't tolerate the cheating in the SEC and how unacceptable it is. And, he was hitting the table. Will Wade still coached LSU. For letting me come back into the league. Greg Sankey was on the infractions committee at the NCAA. And he's letting these guys in his league.
But Bruce Pearl
and on top of it, it doesn't matter what he did. Because the NCAA said it was terrible what he did. Just like they said what Reggie Bush's stepdad did was terrible, and Reggie can't have the Heisman.
Having kids over for a barbecue.
Rules are rules.
I know.
I didn't write them. So, we got that going on. And here's Greg Sankey throwing a crybaby fit about this 12-team playoff. Nobody else wants to be in the 12-team playoff except for me. And nobody wants to do the 12-team playoff anymore because everybody knows that you concocted it with Texas and Oklahoma in your back pocket and nobody knew, and you're doing it for the money. Why is Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC? Is it for the proud tradition of Boomer Sooner? No, it's for the money. Why does Greg Sankey adamantly want a 12-team playoff? Why does he argue every reason outside of the box except that it's the money? For the money. And again, if you want to go for the money, baseball has gone for the money for the last 30 years. In 1992, there was a Pew Research poll that said the average American enjoyed football to baseball 3-1. 1992, 3-1. And you would think on the surface that 3-1 is bad, right? Like you never want to be the one that loses 3-1.
Correct.
What would the average American today, what would that be? Football to baseball. The NFL to the MLB.
Probably 3.9 to 0.1.
You think it's only grown by one person? I would argue it'd be like 40-1. That you'd find 40 NFL fans.
Well, I mean, just keeping it to 4 people. But yes.
I'm thinking you would see 40 NFL fans for every baseball fan, and that might be conservative. So, I mean, again, you can take the money. That's what baseball did. Baseball's done it for 30 years. Look at baseball today. I mean, they don't even get talked about. The Braves won a game in extra innings, and I was working out the next morning, and I was trying to find somewhere that would talk about that game. Weren't talking about it on ESPN. Weren't talking about it on ESPN radio. We weren't talking about it locally, as we should not have been talking about it locally. I had to go to Sirius XM MLB Network Radio to find somebody who was willing to talk about this game. And this is the reality of what I'm afraid college football, I worry college football is going down this path. And, I mean, it just, when we remember college football, like I always try to, I think like getting a little bit older, I've been able to kind of step back for things that bother me in the moment and say, what are you really going to remember about? What's really going to stand out? We threw a party like 3 years ago. And, I mean, everybody who went to that party said it was a great party. And, you know, we celebrated some of the accomplishments that Floyd and I had made as radio partners and things like that. And we had a great time. And I spent some money on the party, but I remember, like, I didn't stress out about it. Like, I didn't worry about, oh, you know, is this over here? Is that over there? Is this over? Because when all's said and done, like, what you remember are the good times. What you remember is the fact that, you know, we had such a great time celebrating each other. I remember I got up and I was talking to the people about Floyd and like, you know, then COVID happens and then he gets sick and then he dies. And so if we didn't do that, we would have never been able to have that opportunity ever. But those are the memories you take away. That's why my dad and I, we spent so much money going to the World Series, but we did it because those are the memories you take away from. When you think of college football, you think of the great games. You don't think of the great recruiting seasons. You think of the great games. You think of Texas USC. You think of Alabama winning their first title over Texas. You think about LSU against Oklahoma in 2003. You think about Miami and Ohio State when Miami was unbeaten and the defending unbeaten national champions and Ohio State beat them in overtime. And I just don't want us to get away from the games. And I thought last weekend, the games, 15 million people watched Michigan, Ohio State. That's triple the amount of people that watched LeBron James and the Lakers play a play-in game against Steph Curry and Golden State. 3 times the amount of people. That's unbelievable. And so that's just my daily rant of the day. Jared's what did the guy in the text line say?
Your old man rant.
My old man rant. My old man rant of the day is, like, let's enjoy college. Let's not cheapen college football. Let's not let the people that live and breathe college football every day, which I am not one of, and you do not need to be. Let's not let them ruin college basketball for us. Just like the analytic nerds have ruined baseball. Just like the LeBron Jordan comparisons have ruined basketball. Like, let's not ruin college football because we got some great games. Coming up next, Caroline's coach. But we have got to get to this one.
I didn't pick him.
This is an all-timer. Brian Kelly, and why what he did yesterday, which was embarrassing, is actually good for college football. That's next. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The Titans have lost back-to-back games going into the bye week.
The ball is loose.
You're not going to get everybody back feeling great. That's just, that's unrealistic.
What does it mean for the stretch run?
If I had to make a prediction right now, I'd probably pick them to go like 3-2 down the stretch.
You're home for the best Titans coverage.
We keep going for it with this group. Eventually, we're going to have to pay the piper.
Lives on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's the end of the year blowout sale at Social Furniture. Closing out on Ashley's Furniture with up to 70% off. First come, first served on the best selection of furniture. Social Furniture has truckloads after truckloads of furniture with 100 loads of closeouts, samples, canceled orders, and discounted orders of Ashley Furniture. All on sale here at Social Furniture. $300 nightstands, now $99. $1,000 Ashley mattress, now $300. $200 bar stools, now for $59. $1,000 sofas, now $499. And recliners starting at $299. The best part is there's no waiting. Take your new furniture home today with Social Furniture's same-day delivery. They have 12 months same as cash. Hurry up and come down to Social Furniture's end-of-the-year blowout sale before it's gone. Visit Social Furniture on the west side at 5412 Charlotte Avenue or on the web at mysocialfurniture.com.
Hey, what's going on? It's Chase McKay. Become a weekend warrior at BetMGM. King of the Weekend, it's a free-to-play challenge where you can win up to $50,000 for correctly picking the highest-scoring pro football teams during the weekend. Simply log into your account and find the King of the Weekend contest in your promotions section. Then pick the 6 teams you think will score the most points from the selected games. $1,000 will go to the top entry each week, and if you guess all 6 games in the right order, the grand prize of $50,000 could be yours. Plus, hundreds of dollars in free bets will be awarded to players who come close to a perfect score. Go to your account and try the King of the Weekend free-to-play game. New to BetMGM? Download the app today and make weekend football even better. Only at BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. You must be 21 years of age or older, must be in Tennessee. Visit BetMGM.com for a full list of terms and conditions. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789.
Winter's a bad time for your furnace to go out, but it's never a bad time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Do great prices and selection on trucks and SUVs still exist? They do in Truckville. Sarah Chevrolet Buick GMC of Nashville has the largest selection in Tennessee. And we keep getting fresh stock on our lots every day. We're committed to offering you our best price and a 5-star experience, which is why we're still known as the destination for trucks and SUVs. Come visit Truckville, Tennessee today in person or online at sarahnashville.com.
Double prizes!
Sunday afternoon. It's an NFL doubleheader.
Wentz faking the handoff, going to take a shot. Paris Campbell for the touchdown.
Carson Wentz and the Colts visit the Texans, followed by Niners at Seahawks in an NFC West showdown. Doubleheader coverage begins at 11:30
on ESPN
94.9.
Hey Nashville, Trey Wingo here. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Go Stillman and Company. So Caroline Fenton earlier today had to defend Taysom Hill, who stinks, Because
I think that you are painting this picture of my perception of Taysom Hill that is totally inaccurate. You think that I am some Taysom Hill jersey wearer, Taysom Hill apologist. No, never have I done that. I just said it is useful to have a guy in your team that can play multiple positions. That's all I said. And you think that I'm like, Taysom Hill, woohoo, best quarterback in the league.
The tone has
No.
changed. So
No.
Caroline's coach, Brian Kelly, yesterday hit the floor at a basketball game. I'm sure most of you had seen this. But like oftentimes, the football coach gets hired, goes to the basketball game, and we're going to win a national championship for, where am I again? Miami! And the place goes nuts. This was Brian Kelly of Massachusetts and his career at Grand Valley State, Cincinnati, and now Notre Dame. And y'all, this is Brian Kelly.
LSU, 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 LSU. Thank you. Thank you. Well, this is a great way to get started. And I haven't even won all my games yet.
Win all my games.
It's a great night to be a Tiger. I'm here with my family, and we are so excited to be in the great state of Louisiana, but more importantly, to be with you great fans and to be part of what is going to be an incredible ride here at Louisiana State University.
We got the gist there. So, my family and I are so glad to be here at LSU.
It is a great day to be an LSU
It's
Tiger.
a great day to be a Tiger. Caroline, your thoughts on your coach?
I mean, seriously,
Are you embarrassed?
dude? Yeah, I'm embarrassed. I am so embarrassed that my entire Twitter today was just making fun of Brian Kelly being such a poser and feeling like he needed to do some sort of fake accent and act like he's from Louisiana. Like, dude, we all have Wikipedia. We all know where you came from. And just because the person whose job you are taking over had the thickest Cajun accent there is doesn't mean that you have to be him. And it doesn't mean that you have to be the people of Louisiana in order to coach this football team. It's embarrassing and it's try hard. And the LSU, how it was uncomfortable, like uncomfy. It feels like, you know that feeling you get whenever you're watching a movie with your parents and a scene comes on that you don't want to be watching with your parents? That's how I felt when I heard that, when I watched that video, was just like, dude, stop trying to be anything that you're not, because the one way that you're going to get people to, I guess there's two ways. First way is to win games. The second, just be authentic. Just be an overall likable person, which I don't think that is what Brian Kelly is. No. But you don't need to be, some sort of fake Caleb Crawdad Southern man, good old boy from Houma, Louisiana, in order for people to like you, in order for people to be excited about you. Because I think a lot of people are excited about him. So you don't need to say, it's a great day to be a Tiger. No, it's a great day to be a Tiger. I said it. I feel good about it. I feel pretty secure in my LSU fandom because I don't have a Southern accent and I don't feel like I need to be in order to fit in LSU. It's embarrassing. It's silly. And just do your job, Brian Kelly. Just do your job.
So, I actually think this is kind of good for college football. Brian Kelly was already not liked by a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
He's kind of a jerk, and he coached Notre Dame, and most people don't like Notre Dame. And so, he already had, a strike against him. But, he really has taken the cake this week. I think he's now the new Urban Meyer. He's the true villain of college football. Everybody outside of LSU hates him. I am now actively rooting against LSU. I'm sorry, Caroline. I hope you guys lose every game.
Is it Brian Kelly or is it you just kind of want that from me?
No, it's Brian Kelly. Ian, are you rooting against Brian Kelly?
I kind of already have been. So
there
fair.
You go.
It's fair.
So he just does stuff like this, and it just makes it so much easier to root against him. And I'm rooting against him. And I hope he gets fired, and I hope LSU has to pay him all that money, and I hope it's been, look, and I can't stand my coach at Louisville. I mean, I think that they shouldn't fire him, but I think they should fire him next year. But, like, I can't stand my coach, but I think I'm doing the 180. Floyd hated Chip Kelly at UCLA. Hated him. But anytime they lost, I could never, zing him where it hurt. But, boy, anytime Louisville had some kind of scandal with prostitutes or paying players or Bobby Petrino, boy, he loved to give it right to me. And I think that the roles have reversed. I think I'm now more interested in Caroline's program than I am my own program. And I am really starting to hate LSU, not because I don't like LSU. I'm really starting to hate LSU because they got a cheater for a men's basketball coach. They got a cheater for a women's basketball coach. They got this freaking guy with his fake Southern accent. Where you from, Coach?
Massachusetts. You are from Massachusetts.
We got this freaking loser at, coaching football. And so I think I'm actively rooting against LSU.
I think that's
What's the
fair.
opposite of G-E-A-U-X, go? What's the opposite of that?
I don't go. I don't know. Stop.
D-O-N-T-G-E-A-U-X. Don't go, LSU. But it's good because now there's a villain. I will root for everybody to beat LSU, including.
There is one villain in the SEC, and you know exactly who it is.
I like him, though.
I know you do.
That's not true. Lane Kiffin's kind of a villain.
No.
They threw a golf ball at him.
No, but Nick Saban is the universal SEC villain.
See, I think people like Saban. I think Saban, if you were to ask.
I think Alabama fans like Saban.
If you were to ask, you know how they do like these favorability polls for like politicians?
Like politics, yeah.
Like, if you were to go around the South and you were to say, do you have a favorable or unfavorable opinion of Nick Saban, he would be more than 50% favorable. I think people like Nick Saban.
In the state of Alabama.
No, I'll tell you, I think people like Nick Saban. I think they're jealous of Nick Saban, and I think they wish Nick Saban was their coach, but I think they like Nick Saban.
I don't think that people like the fact that Nick Saban beats them every year. So, yeah, call that jealousy if you want, but people don't like Nick Saban because he beats them every year.
I don't think
I respect Nick Saban.
Outside of LSU, Auburn, and maybe Tennessee.
Oh, and Ole Miss.
I don't think that. I think Saban is incredibly well liked.
I respect him.
No. Liked. I think.
I don't like him.
I think most people in the SEC like Saban, even if they like a team that Saban doesn't go. Saban now has got because now he's older. He's got the personality. I think Saban's a pretty likable guy.
I think that.
On top of it, I think everybody in the SEC hates Brian Kelly. And I think everybody.
I think everyone in college football hates Brian Kelly.
Everybody hates Brian Kelly.
I hate Brian
I think
Kelly.
This is good.
I hate Brian Kelly, and he coaches my football team.
Say there's one villain in the SEC, Nick Saban. Come on. People like Nick Saban.
You like Nick Saban.
Everybody. Ian, do you like Nick Saban?
Well, I don't dislike Nick Saban like I dislike Brian Kelly.
Do you have a favorable or unfavorable opinion of Nick Saban?
I would say overall probably slightly favorable.
Okay.
Is Ian the representative for the SEC?
Absolutely not.
He's more of a fair representative of it than you are because you are an LSU fan.
That's fair.
So I think there was a time where people really didn't like Saban.
I know for a fact the LSU fan base absolutely cannot stand him, but that's for different reasons.
After the Dolphins thing, I won't be the coach at Alabama, and then goes to Alabama. I think that probably rubs some people the wrong way. But to act like he's Bobby Petrino, no. I think Saban has a very favorable view around the Southeastern.
I think it's gotten better with Saban as far as his overall view of not being such a jerk.
I will say
for
this.
a lack of a better term.
Yeah. I will say this. The two times that we kind of got to hang out with Saban where there wasn't all these cameras around and there weren't all these people or whatever.
He's probably a super cool guy.
Oh my God, he's so cool. That was the thing I used to tell people, you'll get asked questions who's the most famous person you've ever interviewed? Or and I guess, I don't know, John McCain, I don't know. But Saban, whenever people because when people are asking you that kind of story, they want or asking you that kind of question, they want
the
some
story.
kind of story.
Yeah.
I tell them about how hanging out with Floyd and Saban in this room, it was this ballroom of a hotel in Birmingham. And Floyd and I walked in and it was just Mika Fitzpatrick by himself eating Cheetos on the couch. And we're waiting for Saban and Saban rolls in there and then we're just hanging out. Like, so Saban's got like 30 minutes and he's got to go downstairs or something. So we're just shooting the breeze with Saban. And, like, I literally was sitting there and I'm like, oh, my God, Nick Saban is freaking cool. And I love Nick Saban. But that's neither.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just fangirled Nick Saban.
Oh, dude, I will not lie to you that he asked Floyd a question about Nashville. And Floyd was like, well, he would know better than I would.
Did you pee your pants?
And so Saban asked me, and I told him the answer, and he was looking at me like his eyes like squared in on me, like listening to what I had to say. And I'm literally thinking in my head, and I will fully admit this, and I had to fully admit this to Nick. I'm like, I'm hanging out with Saban. Oh man, like that was how I felt internally.
You don't know how I felt when I guess I didn't interview Nick Saban, but asked him a question.
How'd you feel?
Ugh.
Did you?
Yeah.
I'm sure he felt the same way.
I'm sure he did.
Stillman and Company. Speaking of college football, we got these games to pick. Caroline's is next. It's ESPN 105 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
On Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. Rain returns late tonight into very early tomorrow morning. Lows tonight, middle 40s. Highs tomorrow, cooler. Low to middle 60s. By mid-morning into the afternoon, things will dry out to a partly cloudy day.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Audible is best-selling audiobooks, exclusive originals, and podcasts all in one app. This holiday season, treat yourself with 60% off your first 3 months. Just visit audible.com for more details.
Treating erectile dysfunction with acoustic wave therapy has been getting a lot of attention lately. But you should know that some are promising results we just haven't seen and charging a lot of money for the treatments as well. This is Kim for the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and if you're looking at acoustic wave therapy or any option to help your ED, you really should call us first. Unlike wave therapy-only clinics, the Tennessee Men's Clinic wave therapy protocols do use acoustic wave technology, but we also often combine it with other treatments that can give most of our patients far higher satisfaction rates. There is no surgery nor any type of invasive procedure required. And even better, depending on your treatment strategy and with our urologist and provider's guidance, you can likely have sex the day after your appointment. We even have other treatments that can help you last up to an hour. Plus, for a limited time, we're waiving our normal appointment charge, which includes a PSA and T test, and offering a free ultrasound, altogether nearly a $400 value, for free. So make an appointment today. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra results vary.
It's the 12 days of Christmas at Genesis Diamonds with the best gift ever. 5 years, 0 interest financing. That's right. For the first 12 days of December, you get the unbeatable Genesis value price, plus 0 interest financing for 5 years with nothing down. So you can splurge on a new diamond. Why not upgrade her from a 1 carat to a 2 carat? With this offer, you can get a $12,000 designer engagement ring for just $200 a month. All Genesis GIA certified diamonds are included. So if you're celebrating a lifetime of love, or just starting out, you can get the ring of her dreams and spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest. Diamond earrings, diamond pendants, diamond bands, and bracelets are also included. But you need to shop early. This finance offer is going on now through December 12th only at Genesis Diamonds. Merry Christmas from Genesis Diamonds. Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit, see store for details.
Hey, Ray Magliozzi here. I don't know about you, but my car could use a few upgrades. I mean, the 8-inch tear in the driver's seat does have sentimental value since my butt has molded to fit it, but I'm ready to move on. My solution? eBay Motors. They've got all the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them, from seat covers to whole new seats. When I get that new seat, I think I'll put the old one in the living room, right next to the minivan seats, or as we call it, the sectional. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Darren McFarland.
That should get you in the mood for a game tonight.
Willie Donick.
I think between 5.5 and 6 is probably in the ballpark.
Chase McCabe.
Typically, I like to take the most difficult task and do it first.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Curacion CBD on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
Stillman and Company, it's conference championship weekend. Pac-12 kicks off tonight. It's time for Caroline's.
Get in on the action. Put the money on the mahogany. What's on tap on the sports books? It's time to break it all down with Caroline's. Here on Stillman and Company.
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You said it. We've got conference championship games this weekend. Georgia, Alabama in Atlanta for the SEC championship. Georgia is currently favored by 6.5. And I think that if you just take the names off of both teams and you look at the records and you look at the stats and you look at the numbers that they were able to put up, the stats that Alabama has, they would be much more of a dog, more of like maybe 10.5 point dog if it was not Alabama. But I do think that Vegas knows that people think that, oh, Alabama, this is Alabama. They've won the SEC championship so many times in the past few years that the spread is not very wide because of that. But I think that Georgia far and above is the better team. So I'm going to take Georgia minus 6.5 for a few reasons. Alabama easily could have won 3 or 4 games on their schedule that they happen to squeak out a win. Auburn, for example, that easily could have been a loss for Alabama going into 4 overtimes. LSU kept it so close with Alabama that entire game, and that LSU team is trash. Tennessee kept it close for a half, maybe 3 quarters, and the Tennessee team is nothing compared to an SEC championship caliber team. So I think Georgia absolutely is the better team here. George Pickens is back. He was injured this season. Last year in 8 games, he had 36 passes for 513 yards, 6 touchdowns. Freshman season, he had 727 yards for 8 touchdowns in 14 games. George Pickens is a dog, and I think that he's going to be just another addition to this Georgia offense. So
I'm going to take Georgia too. But here's my thing. If it were anybody else, I would almost guarantee it. But like over the years, when there's a dominant SEC team, the SEC championship is usually not that close. Now last year was kind of close, but generally speaking, like when LSU had their great teams, they played Georgia a couple years. It wasn't really a close game. And clearly LSU was better than Georgia. When Alabama has had dominant teams, they really haven't been close SEC championship games. Even going back to like the 2011 LSU team that just smoked Georgia and Atlanta, like if it were anybody else, anybody but Saban, I would say yes. There's a part of me, Alabama has not looked like Alabama this year. They have not looked like a Saban Alabama team this year. There's a part of me that feels like it's going to be a Georgia blowout. There's a part of me that thinks this is going to be like one of those Saban urban battles from the early, 2010s in Atlanta. But I'll take Georgia. I think they probably do blow them out. They cover comfortably. What's next?
Michigan and Iowa this weekend. The spread here is Michigan minus 10.5.
10.5.
10.5 is tricky because I do think that Iowa could keep it close enough to cover. So I am going to take Iowa plus 10.5 minus 112. I do think it may be like a 10-point game. Iowa, I haven't watched a ton of Iowa football this year, and Michigan looked outstanding against Ohio State. But I think that Iowa keeps it close enough to cover, so I'm going to take Iowa plus 10.5.
So I'm not going to be one of these people that's drinking so much Kool-Aid that they think that, because of what Michigan did against Ohio State, they could beat Georgia. But I'm going to say this. I think the monkey is off the back of Jim Harbaugh. And I have always thought, like when Jim Harbaugh took that job, I thought he was going to be like Urban at Ohio State or Saban at Alabama. And I'm not saying he is, but I think the monkey in big games is totally off his back. I think Michigan gets it done. I think Michigan is the most intriguing team in the playoff, including Georgia. I think they are the most interesting team to follow. I'll go with the Wolverines.
We've also got Baylor, Oklahoma State in the Big 12 Conference Championship.
Go Baylor!
I really would love to see Baylor win this one.
Get that mullet, crazy TV watching coach out of there. Get him out. There are no redeeming qualities about Gundy, and there are no redeeming qualities about Oklahoma State. And I hope Baylor wins. I'll take Oklahoma State.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
I'm going to take Oklahoma State.
I'm going to take Oklahoma. The spread here is 4.5. I'm going to take Oklahoma State minus
Go
4.5.
Go Baylor. Come on, Bears.
But I would love to see a Baylor upset. Dave Aranda, big fan of Dave Aranda, former LSU defensive coordinator, but I think Oklahoma has just shown that they're the better team.
I cannot
Oklahoma State beat Baylor
Gundy
earlier in the season as well.
I cannot stand Gundy, and I just don't have any interest in Oklahoma State.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Get him out. What's next?
We also have a few prop bets as well. First touchdown scorer in Georgia, Alabama, Stetson Bennett, minus 120.
If Georgia's going to lose this game, it's going to be because of him. Like, he is the prototypical Alabama game-managing quarterback. And I think Saban, just like the Titans put the game in Mac Jones' hands the other day, and Mac didn't necessarily win it for the Patriots, but he didn't do anything to lose it. I think Saban's putting the game in Stetson Bennett's hands. I think there's a real possibility that.
But I don't think he's put the game in Stetson Bennett's hands at all this year.
Well, they've never played a team that's forced them to put the game in Stetson Bennett's hands.
That's fair.
And I think that's,
But
Saban,
Alabama's
Saban's
offensive line has given them trouble all year, and I think that Georgia's defense is just that good to get in their face and be able to make that the difference.
That's okay. I think if Saban plays a rock fight where it's defense, I think that's okay. But he's making Stetson Bennett throw the ball.
Question for you, because this is one thing that has been, non-betting related, but I guess it kind of could be.
Sure.
One topic surrounding this game is the Heisman on the line for Bryce Young this weekend?
God, I got to tell you, I couldn't give two poops about the Heisman, and I don't hear anybody talking about the Heisman.
I think because this year is the first year that there isn't really one standout player that's like, oh, that's a Heisman guy.
Like, there's not a guy worthy of the Heisman.
There's
like,
not
if we could go
Trevor
back
Lawrence.
and give this year's Heisman to Vince Young in 2006, where if anybody else other than Reggie Bush was out there, Vince Young would have won the Heisman.
Uh-huh.
Like if we could do that, that would be.
There were three guys last year that probably could have won the Heisman. All the Heisman candidates from 2019 probably could have been worthy for the Heisman. This year, everyone just kind of seems like, because normally it's the quarterback on the best team, but the quarterback on the best team this year isn't that great of a quarterback.
Yeah, no, I mean, like people were talking about the Haskins kid from Michigan. I had never heard of him until last week, and if you put him in New York for the Heisman, I'd be like, okay.
Sure.
Go
whatever. Big Blue.
Those are Caroline, 615-737-1025. So David Beauclair was in for me on Wednesday, and he had a take about the Titans that if I said everybody would lose their minds. What was it? Next, Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 1025 The Game. Let me tell all the fine folks out there, again, that it is, in fact, Fireball Hot Take Friday. We love Fireball Hot Take Friday here on the program. Let me tell everybody that join ESPN The Game Nashville and Newton Motor Group as we team up this holiday season to help children in Middle Tennessee with Souls for Music City. More than 4,000 children in the metro area experience homelessness, and over 18,000 in Middle Tennessee. And The Game and Cromwell Media are teaming up with Soul for Souls to provide a new pair of shoes to these children who are experiencing homelessness. Souls for Souls works with our schools and community partners to deliver new shoes to kids who need them most. Newton Motor Group will be making a donation to Souls for Souls for every test drive at any of Newton Motor Group's 4 locations through the end of the year. We need your help to give these kids the joy and confidence they deserve. For more information and to donate, go to thegamenashville.com/shoes. And as I donated on the air the other day, I'm in for $500, so anything you can give would be great for the community. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 1025 The Game.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Weekday mornings from 5 to 9.
Did you see the Tennessee Titans? He has all the weapons to make it happen. There's so much to pay attention to.
Greeny from 9 to 11.
Ryan Tannehill is the most disrespected player.
Art and Han from 11 to 2.
You never stop punching. They've got to learn how to close the deal.
And the Paul Feinbaum Show afternoons from 2 to 6.
Are these legitimate contenders to the party?
Your exclusive home for ESPN Radio in the Music City.
ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Attention Nice List recipients. The Mercedes-Benz winter event is here. Make this season your reason. Forget the halls, deck the garage. Hark, the turbo engines sing. Like hot cocoa in a blizzard, this opportunity won't last long. Hurry for these exclusive offers from Nashville's 2-time Best of the Best award-winning Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Just one exit from the airport. Go to mbofmc.com.
Bank of England Mortgage has been helping Americans live the dream of home ownership for over 100 years. Since their humble beginnings in England, Arkansas, they've gone from a community bank to a nationwide mortgage lender. BOE delivers innovative mortgage products with superior customer service and the most knowledgeable loan officers in Nashville. Find your nearest location in Middle Tennessee at BOE1214.com or call 615-823-1215. Bank of England Mortgage is a division of Bank of England Mortgage. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, NMLS 418-481.
312 Pizza Company is family-owned and operated, bringing you a slice of Chicago to Nashville. 312 Pizza Company specializes in deep dish pizza, thin crust pizza, and all things Chicago style. Always made from scratch using secret family recipes passed down generation to generation. 312 Pizza is open every day except for Tuesdays and is located in Germantown with dine-in, takeout, and curbside available. Call 615-730-7888 to order 312 Pizza Company, Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria.
Closer, bolder, golden. Nashville SC Stadium is arriving in 2022, and season tickets are on sale now. With just 150 feet between the pitch and the last row, you'll be right there in the action no matter where you sit. If you thought soccer in Nashville was a party already, you ain't seen nothing yet. So come on in, grab a seat, and stay a while as we open a new era of Nashville sports. For more information on season tickets at the new Nashville SC Stadium, visit nashvillesc.com/22 ticks.
Scott Van Pelt here. If you haven't checked out the podcast SV Pod, what are you waiting for? We're like right directly in the flight path for helicopters flying in and out of DC. Otis the dog barking at deliveries. High-level intellectual conversation. Some gambling talk, talking with athletes, celebrities, musicians, and more. Also, we got my guy Stanford Steve riding shotgun, trying to keep me out of the ditches. Download and subscribe to SV Pod wherever you get your podcasts. We certainly appreciate it. Rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Whether you're vaccinated or not, it's important to know the symptoms of COVID and its variants. Fever is the leading sign, and only the Exergen temporal scanner thermometer has been proven accurate with more than 100 clinical studies. Non-contact thermometers have no clinical evidence behind them and cannot be relied on. Be vigilant and seek medical advice at the first sign of fever. Be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman. On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Fireball Hot Take Friday. Boy, I have managed the clock on today's radio show. I mean, like, they would put me in the Bad Clock Management Hall of Fame. Me, Mike
you and
McCarthy,
Les Miles.
Les Miles, and Darren McFarland. put us all in the Bad Clock Management Hall of Fame. Is that fair, Ian?
Yeah, I mean, today's been a little bit worse than usual on your part, but that's
Today's
okay.
been bad. And I love Darren, but, I mean, every time I talk about managing the clock poorly, Chase is like, well, Darren. And I guess I'm not trying to throw Darren under the bus. I love him, but go ahead and throw me in there with that. Anywho, so I actually was talking to Darren about this yesterday. And it is, I've learned in life that tone matters as much as anything else. That's why there's certain things you want to talk about over the phone as opposed to a text message.
For sure.
Because they can't hear the tone.
You can't hear sarcasm via text message.
Yes. So I was listening to you and David Beauclair when I was out the other day. And David Beauclair, very well respected, been in the market for forever, very even keel, had a burner of a take. And I was brushing my teeth and I heard this and I was like, what? And yet nobody really talked much about it. And if I said it, it would be like the end of the world. And it has to do with Ryan Tannehill and why Ryan Tannehill is not playing well. Here's what he said.
The other side of it is he's not getting any younger either. This is a guy who all of a sudden has a lot of money in the bank. He had no playoff appearances before he came here. He's got 4 playoff games to his credit now. Played in a conference championship game. You certainly can't say he's accomplished everything in this league, but is he maybe getting a little more comfortable in his life and not outside of being a football player? I think that's a that's a fair question, a fair thing to wonder about because that happened. That happens to guys, and Mike Vrabel talked to you. We saw it this offseason, guys like Kevin Johnson and Avery Jones, and there was like 3 or 4 guys who signed with the Titans, and within a couple months, all of a sudden they retire. Right, they're out of football, and Mike Vrabel said it sort of hits you at a certain point that you're just not willing to do everything that you have done in your career to get ready. And Ryan Tannehill wouldn't be the first guy to look around all of a sudden and say, boy, I got a really big contract right now that's put a lot of money in my bank account. I don't want to risk getting hurt the way I did previously, and it doesn't have to be a big thing. You're talking a 5% maybe reduction in terms of his willingness to compete or do something or stand in there that extra half second, whatever. It is all it takes to make a big difference in the NFL.
Oh my God! Basically, David Beauclair asked the question of whether or not Tannehill's too comfortable. Or as we used to say when it came to the Predators, and I accused the Predators of this, fat and happy. All these guys got their contracts. Johansson got his. Yossi got his. Ryan Ellis got his. Matt Duchene got his. PK had his. And all of a sudden, were they getting a little too fat and happy? And we asked, Kyle Turris got his. And he just asked David Beauclair. And I love David Beauclair. But he just asked if the starting quarterback of the Tennessee Titans, who makes $25.5 million every year and is the leader of the team, and he asked it in an honest way with the question mark at the end of that. I guess it's a fair question to ask. But he asked if he's gotten too fat and happy to go out there and compete better to be the starting quarterback of the Titans because, well, he's got a lot of money now and he's already made the playoffs, so who cares? What? Like if I said that, oh my God, if I said that, Twitter would go insane. They'd be like, Jared Stillman is calling out Tannehill when, look, I'm not going to say it's a fair question to ask because there's nothing about Tannehill that would make me think that Ryan Tannehill is not giving it 100%. I think he is giving it 100%. I just think for some reason his 100% is not good enough anymore. But the tone of which David Beauclair said that, and the tone in which sometimes I talk with on this show, that has to be the difference. Because if I said that, oh my God, it'd be a 4-hour topic. And oh my God, Reddit and Twitter and TitanBlog.com and what's that website of those fanboys that always get mad at me? I can't even remember.
Broadway Sports?
That sounds about right.
They get mad at you a lot.
Oh, my God. Those guys, they're not even real media people, but they send out a tweet about me and they get all this. Oh, my God. It'd be insane.
Well, people know how to play the hits, and if you say anything bad about you, that's going to hit.
There's some truth there.
Yeah.
But, wow, what a take from Beauclair. You think he's got something there?
I feel like that's a thing that exists 100%.
Exists with Tannehill or exists in general?
In the world.
Okay, yes.
Yes.
It 100% exists in the world.
Yes. I don't know Tannehill. We see Tannehill in press conferences, and that's about it. And what we learned from Man in the Arena is you could put on a totally different face in press conferences. But I don't get the vibe that Tannehill's the kind of person that says, I have enough money in my bank account, so I can start to tone things back a little bit because I got paid.
I got 2 kids. I'm married. I got a house.
I got a nice house. I can send my kids to college, and we're comfortable. We can go to Barbados every year. I don't feel like I need to put in my 100% because I'm going to get paid no matter what.
I was at a bachelor
party
in Fort Lauderdale, and we were deep sea fishing, so we were out there and when we were bringing it back in, it was in this area of Fort Lauderdale where the houses on the water were just
Bouge.
And I was like, I think Tannehill has a house out here. And the captain of the boat was like, yeah, that's Tannehill's house.
Was it fat?
It was dope. And so Tannehill's got, he's got the kids and he's got the wife and he's got the houses and he's got the money and the Titans have guaranteed the world to him. I mean, the Titans have basically just given him a blank check now and said, just go ahead and do whatever, Ryan. I just don't think that's Tannehill. With every bone in my body, and I don't know Tannehill well.
I would have a really hard time thinking so.
I think there could be a lot of reasons why Tannehill's not as good as he normally is.
And we've listed out a lot of very valid reasons.
Arthur Smith is not here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Jonnu Smith is not here anymore. They've had no consistency at wide receiver this season. The Titans have lost Derrick Henry of late, though he was still struggling with decision-making before that. I think there's a chance Tannehill might be hurt and is not telling anybody that he's hurt.
That's fair.
There's a lot of things out there that I'd be willing to consider before I would say that Ryan Tannehill is mailing it in.
But I think that Ryan Tannehill...
And would you not say I am Ryan Tannehill's harshest critic this year?
Yeah, that's probably fair. And I think Ryan Tannehill loves the game of football. Loves the game of football. And I think he understands, being a backup before in his career, that, if you love the game of football, at any point it can be pulled from underneath you, because there are a lot of guys in this sport that love football and would love the opportunity to have one of 32 starting quarterback positions. And I think he understands that any day, if he starts to peel things back, if he starts to not give his 100%, his job could be taken from him. And I don't think that that's a risk that Ryan Tannehill would want to make. I don't think he's a half-assed kind of guy. I don't think he's the kind of guy that just collects the paycheck because, it makes his life easier and, however he performs, it doesn't matter. I don't get that vibe from Tannehill. I could be totally off. I don't know Ryan Tannehill as a person. I just don't get that vibe.
You know what I would say to Beauclair if I was on it when he said that?
What would you say to him?
I'd be like, you have to ask him that question at a press conference now.
Yeah.
You're
going to put it out there in the world. You got to confirm it.
I hate to say it.
You got to see it through.
He's asking you about, maybe Tannehill just, 5%. Basically that Tannehill cares 5% less, right?
Yeah.
Okay? You got to ask Tannehill that. And see, that's the thing. Oh my God, the fanboyblogger.com, they went nuts when I asked David Poyle when they hired John Hines. David Poyle, was doing his press conference, and he kept talking about New Jersey. Well, New Jersey told us that Hines is this, and New Jersey told us. So I asked David, I'm like, so if New Jersey likes Hines so much, why did they fire him?
I think it's a valid question.
And the fanboy media was so bent out of shape. They were like, how could he say that during Hines' press conference? And I was like, because it's not his high school graduation. It is a press conference. It is a discussion with the media. That's what those are. So that's another aside. But I think if you're going to say it, maybe you got to ask it. I'm just saying. I don't want to get on Beauclair because I love Beauclair. And I thank him for filling in when I was out. But that was a take now. I mean, that is rich. You're questioning, right? And again, I love Beauclair.
Uh-huh.
But that was a question. He asked a question to you.
Mm-hmm.
He was questioning whether or not Tannehill's fully invested in the game. That is, I miss the old broadcasters. Now, Troy Aikman and Joe Buck have started to kind of get into this, where they criticize a lot more than they used to. I mean, they really give people the business. But
because I feel like at a certain point when you have a certain, distinguish.
Yeah, you don't care anymore. The old announcers, they used to give people the business. And I'm just saying. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. That was a take. I love it. So we'll get your thoughts in on it. Do you think, 615-737-1025, do you think that Tannehill is too comfortable and that's why Tannehill is struggling? Plus, I have a Tannehill exercise that I am going to practice on the Titans bye week, so we'll get to that as well. 615-737-1025. Tune into the NFL Game of the Week on ESPN 102.5. The Game brought to you by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue. The Game of the Week is this Sunday between the Ravens and the Steelers with a 3:25 kickoff. You, Titan fans, need the Steelers to win that game. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
1025 The Game and Cromwell Media are teaming up with Souls for Souls this holiday season for Souls for Music City.
Thank you to everyone who's helping us.
Every $20 donation equals a brand new pair of athletic shoes for a local child experiencing homelessness in Middle Tennessee.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Log on to thegamenashville.com/shoes to learn more on how you can help bring a smile to a child's face at a time of need. Souls for Music City is brought to you by Newton Motor Group.
Thank you so much.
It's the end of the year blowout sale at Social Furniture. Save up to 70% off Ashley Furniture. Social Furniture has truckloads of the best selection of furniture. Get your nightstands, mattresses, bar stools, sofas, and recliners. All on sale now. Come first for the best selection of furniture before it's gone. And you don't want to miss out. Visit Social Furniture on the west side at 5412 Charlotte Avenue. On the web at mysocialfurniture.com. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Rentalworks, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Craneworks is ready to help lift Nashville. As the Southeast's most trusted name in crane and equipment rental for over 30 years, Craneworks offers certified operators to make sure the job is done right. Rentalworks has a diverse fleet of equipment to assist in any project, big or small. From forklifts to carry deck cranes, they have it all. When it's time for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project, call Craneworks. Visit craneworks.com.
Blood Assurance is the only nonprofit blood centers in Middle Tennessee where 100% of your blood donations go to help save lives for people right here in our community. Blood Assurance is proud to announce the opening of its newest location on December 9th at the Oakwood Commons Shopping Center at 4686 Lebanon Pike in Hermitage. Find it in your heart to donate today. They'll have their bloodmobile set up in the parking lot until the opening. Go to bloodassurance.org/schedule for information.
Mark Howard here to tell you about my friends at Apple Collision Centers. We all know being in a collision is not fun. Neither is all the stress that comes with it, and that's where Apple Collision comes in. Let them take care of everything for you. That's insurance, repair, and your rental details. They've got 3 convenient locations in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Their managers, Tommy Rippey, Daniel Neville, and Chris Brooks and Marty Denson, combined for over 75 years experience. So stop in today and tell them Mark sent you. Online at applecollisioncenters.com.
Calling all sweet tooths. Head to Nashville Toffee Company, a place where rich, chocolatey daydreams are created from a secret family recipe generations in the making. Their toffees and candies are handcrafted in Nashville using all natural, kosher-certified ingredients. Sweet creamery butter, pure cane sugar, premium roasted nuts, deep rich chocolate, and sea salt. Visit NashvilleToffeeCompany.com or drop by their headquarters on Air Lane Drive for a positively hassle-free shopping experience. Whether you're buying for 1 or 100, Nashville Toffee Company is here to make your holiday gift giving easy.
In college football, Goodyear knows a new season means new possibilities, where every Saturday is an opportunity on the road to greatness. No matter if you're out there playing your hardest or cheering the loudest from the sidelines, tailgating in the parking lot, or your favorite spot to watch the game, Goodyear knows passion is what drives us forward all the way to the playoffs. That's the road that moves us. Goodyear. More driven.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Stillman and Company on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. Tell all the fine folks out there, join Caroline Fenton tomorrow for Southeastern Carolines at 10 a.m. on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. She'll preview the SEC slate with Southeastern Carolines from 312 Pizza Company in Germantown. She'll give you her picks of the day and get you set before kickoff around the South. And I guess there's only one game around the South, so everywhere else is well.
Yeah, the game around the South. But I'll be doing Georgia-Alabama predictions, preview, and also a playoff prediction and talk as well. So
hot take.
Make sure to tune in tomorrow at 10 a.m. I'll be at 312 Pizza Company in Germantown.
Interesting stuff. So David Beauclair questioned on the show the other day if Tannehill's fully invested 100%. I like it. I like takes, or at least questions that are takes. I like that. At least he wasn't afraid to have that take. I think it's interesting. I think Tannehill is fully invested. He's just not playing well enough. I am going to watch all the other games, whether it's red zone or if I, zero in on a game or two, and I am going to compare Tannehill's decision-making to these other quarterbacks. Like, do these other quarterbacks throw the ball right over the middle into the
You
hands
could
of the
compare it to
linebackers?
Taysom Hill's decision-making.
Taysom Hill sucks. So, I'm not sure I want to do that. Let's go to your phones, though. On a Fireball Hot Take Friday, 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
One texter texts in and says that's exactly what happened to Albert Hainsworth in terms of collecting a check and sitting pretty.
Yes. Albert Hainsworth and Ryan Tannehill, in my opinion, are not the same guy. And I like Albert Hainsworth, the guy. But, we've seen, Ryan, they have to teach Ryan Tannehill to slide. They have to tell Ryan Tannehill not to dive into the end zone with his throwing shoulder exposed. That is not a guy who is half rear-ending it out there. In my opinion, Tannehill's giving it 100% every game. Now, if Tannehill's holding something back because he's hurt, that I could see being... Tannehill didn't want to get the vaccine and got the vaccine because of the team. Like, if you were about, hey, I got my money, I got my life, I got things the way I want it, so I'm definitely not bringing the A game anymore, I don't think you're getting the vaccine if you don't believe in it, right?
I mean, because there are plenty of players who didn't get the vaccine because they didn't believe in it.
Right. Like, if you were to tell me that Aaron Rodgers wasn't playing well, let's say Aaron Rodgers had a down season the way Tannehill has had a down season this year, I think we could very much discuss whether or not Aaron Rodgers is throwing himself a pity party. And that's why.
Because Aaron Rodgers is that kind of player.
Yeah,
he's the kind of person that would sacrifice anything for his greater good.
He's a crybaby. And Ryan Tannehill is not a crybaby. And so that's kind of why I feel like I think Tannehill every week is giving it everything he's got. It's just right now his best, for whatever reason, is not as good as his best was last year and is not as good as his best was the year before that. It's just not good enough. But I think he's giving you his best. What's next?
Another texter texts in and says, I want to know about Henry's recovery.
Okay, so I was thinking about this today. The Titans aren't going to tell you anything, and he's not going to tell you anything. So if he's not going to tell you anything and the Titans aren't going to tell you anything, then there's nobody who's going to tell you anything. I think the Titans are optimistic that Derek will come back. I think, Tuesday will be 5 weeks since the break?
I believe so.
Because they went 2-0 and then 2, so it'll be 5 weeks since the surgery on Tuesday. They should have an idea probably within another week. Now, I was thinking about this today. I do feel like the Nashville media needs to find an Ahmad Rashad to essentially be the mouthpiece for Derrick Henry. When NBC had the NBA in the 90s, Ahmad Rashad, who was a former football player, actually played for Floyd. Ahmad Rashad was the official mouthpiece for Michael Jordan. Now, we all know that he and Michael were best buddies, which made it easier. But I actually think that's a good thing. I think in general, if Ahmad Rashad was an investigative reporter, then I would say, okay, you need to not be buddy-buddy with Michael. But when he was a sideline reporter, which was essentially the official spokesperson for Michael, I'm okay with him being Michael's buddy. So when Michael's not talking to anybody because the press is talking about Michael Jordan's gambling, they still have Ahmad Rashad.
Right.
And if you watch these old NBA games on YouTube, which I spent a majority of the summer doing, you'll see they come back, they do the starting lineups. Marv Albert, Bob Costas, it's all right, now we go down for a report. We send it down to Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad? Thank you, Bob. I talked to Michael Jordan, and he said that the big key in this game is going to be rebounding. If they can rebound in the fourth quarter, they've got a shot to take care of this game. And now, let's send it over to Jim Gray on the Knicks. So, the other reporter covers the other team, and Ahmad covers Michael. And so, we, the Nashville media, need an Ahmad Rashad who is essentially the mouthpiece for Derrick Henry. Because Derrick doesn't talk, and so we need somebody to do the talking for Derrick. Jeff Darlington is that way for Tom Brady. That if Jeff Darlington says Brady says something, or Brady thinks something or feels something, chances are it's coming from Brady. And I think we need that with Derrick Henry locally.
That's not a Diana Rossini report that says the team is optimistic.
No.
I want Derrick Henry's best friend
Yes.
To report what Derrick Henry is saying.
I think Derrick feels like. That's what I need. I need one guy in the media that's like, I think the key here is Derrick thinks that they're not. That's all I need. Some guy that's buddy-buddy with Derrick. And it's not going to be me, but I need somebody.
And it's not going to be anyone from within the Titans.
No. It's got to be, again, it's like Ahmad Rashad. That's, honestly, we may employ the one guy who has the potential to do that, to be the mouthpiece for Derrick. But I'll worry about that at a later date. Ellie is up next here on Stillman and Company. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Ellie.
Yeah, I don't think Tannehill's tanking. I think he's just trying to stay healthy for the playoffs. If you want someone who's tanking, look at Russell Wilson. That is tanking. Thank you.
So I don't think Tannehill. Thank you, Ellie. I don't think Tannehill is trying to stay healthy for the playoffs. I don't think Tannehill is worried about getting hurt. I think a guy like Tannehill is like, well, you can't play football scared. I think Tannehill is playing 100%. Now, I think there's a chance that they're both hurt. I mean, Russell's hurt.
Russell, yeah. I mean, the way that they're both playing, if it is such a stark contrast from what you've seen them do in the past, what they're doing now, something's got to be up. I mean, I think with Tannehill, I hear you cannot play football scared, and we're not going to get to the playoffs if we don't win these games right now. We don't win these games right now unless I give my 100%. But I do wonder if there's a little voice in the back of Tannehill's head saying, look, Derrick Henry's down, A.J. Brown is down, Bud Dupree is out, Julio Jones is out. This team needs me. And I don't think that he is tanking, but I do wonder if there's a little bit of fear there.
No, I don't think there's a voice in his head saying that. I think that voice is Mike Vrabel.
Also Mike Vrabel.
I think that voice is Mike saying, don't do dumb blank to hurt the team.
Yeah.
You
getting hurt would hurt the team.
That is what I think you're looking at. 615-737-1025. Full slate of games in the NFL. Have you seen the Fox Sunday schedule?
I haven't looked, no.
Oh, my God. They were talking about it last night on Thursday Night Football on the postgame show. And Terry Bradshaw, and then they were breaking down Washington versus the Raiders. And I was like, why is Terry Bradshaw talking about Washington versus the Raiders? And then they flashed all the games on the screen that was like this Sunday on Fox.
Are they cheeks?
Cheeks. I mean, honestly, it's Washington and the Raiders is their number one game. They got the Rams and the Jags.
Oh.
They've got the Falcons and the Buccaneers.
Ew.
It's just brutal. Fox's schedule is horrendous.
Oh, that's tough.
So there are some games that affect the Titans. We'll get our thoughts on those coming up next. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. TriStar Moving, my official movers. That's right. I absolutely loved moving over a year ago with TriStar Moving. They did a great job, and I can promise that they will do the same for you. Their owners, Garrett and Robert, are true Nashvillians. I know them, and I know how much they care about TriStar Moving and how much they care about doing the job done correctly. That's why they're TriStar Movers with 5-star service. They offer home protection covering your floors, banisters, railings, door jams, and even the doors themselves. They're always upping the game when it comes to mover training. And again, my move was just absolutely flawless. This company is on the rise quickly because of the standard they hold. So if you're looking to move, give my friends at TriStar Moving a call. 615-640-1219. NationalMoving.org/radio, where they'll give you 5% off your entire move. That's TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219. NationalMoving.org/radio. Tell them Jared Stillman sent you, my official movers.
Saturday night.
Broken up in front. Give it back to Forsberg. And here come the hat.
Philip Forsberg and the Nashville Predators look for revenge on home ice against the Montreal Canadiens. Pre-game at 5. Face-off at 6. On Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Nashville, get ready to party Smashville style. On February 26th, the Nashville Predators will make history with the first ever outdoor NHL game in Tennessee as they host the 2022 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series. The Preds will take on the back-to-back Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning in front of 70,000 rockin' fans. Visit NHL.com/Stadium Series tickets.
It's Cyber Week at Electronic Express, but the deals aren't just online. We're bringing big savings on everything in the store. Get the hottest gifts like 4K TVs, computers and gaming, smart home, housewares, and more. That's not all. Upgrade your kitchen just in time for the holiday season with huge savings on all appliances. Plus, buy now, pay later with up to 36 months free financing. Get Cyber Monday prices all week long at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
This holiday season at Genesis Diamonds, a spectacular selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches.
Hi, I'm Charlie Rivers, and I have been a Rolex expert for a very long time.
Nashville's Charlie Rivers invites you to see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces in Tennessee.
I have never seen so many luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in one spot.
Genesis has Sea Dwellers, Datejusts, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, Air Kings, hand-selected premium timepieces in pristine condition. Watches you can't find anywhere else for men and women.
I'm so excited that I can finally give my customers what they want.
And at Genesis, there are no wait lists and no minimum spend requirements. Nothing stands in the way of you and your dream timepiece.
Come say hi, and I will help you find the perfect luxury pre-owned Rolex you've been dreaming of.
Come reward yourself or someone you love this Christmas with a luxury pre-owned Rolex. Genesis Diamonds in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
This Saturday.
Beat the jet sweep. Warren keeps it. Touchdown, Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State looks to boost its playoff resume.
Handed to the corner. Touchdown Bears.
When they take on the Baylor Bears in the Big 12 title game.
Let's get the party started.
Coverage begins at 10:30
on ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Stillman and Company, ESPN 102.5 The Game, here on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. I have to tell you about Fireball in just a second, but I do want to say this. The Fox schedule is out. Buccaneers, Falcons.
Cheeks.
Bears, Cardinals.
Cheeks.
Giants, Dolphins.
Cheeks.
Raiders, Washington.
Cheeks.
Jags, Rams.
Cheeks.
Like, if I'm Joe Buck, I'm like, no, I'm done after the Cowboy game this week. Like, I'm not.
I've done enough.
I'm not going back to
You've
work.
done enough damage this week.
Nope. I'm good. I'm good there.
But the Monday night game is a great game. Patriots at Bills.
Sure, but that's not on Fox.
No, I know. It's on ESPN. It's a Monday night game.
I was just highlighting how bad the Fox schedule is. I do want to get to the games that affect the Titans because there are a lot of them, shockingly. They're just on CBS and ESPN. But first, I want to tell you about Fireball Cinema Whiskey. It goes down so smooth, and it tastes so great. There is no better way to ignite the night than to do so with ice-cold Fireball Cinema Whiskey. I'm a huge Fireball Cinema Whiskey fan, as you all know. I have been igniting the night for years, and I absolutely love it. And the best way to do it is to do it responsibly. So, again, ignite the night. Big time to get stocked up for the holiday party. You got to make sure you got Fireball available, and Fireball goes as a great gift. Fireball Cinema Whiskey, ignite the night. Please do it responsibly and be 21 years or older to enjoy. So, we'll pick these games in six-pack picks in just a second. Chargers, Bengals. That is a noon kickoff on CBS. I think you want the Chargers to win if you're a Titans fan. The Chargers are 6-5. The Bengals are 7-4. If the Bengals win, they will be tied with the Titans. And while I don't consider the Bengals as a team that could win the AFC, I certainly don't want the Bengals to get a better matchup in the first round of the playoffs than the Titans. So I would be rooting for the Chargers if I'm a Titans fan. Colts, Texans, I mean, you want the Texans to win. The reality is, if you can win 3 more games this season, so Texans aren't good, Jags aren't good, Dolphins and 49ers are better but still not good. If you can just win 3 games this season, you win the division no matter what Indianapolis does. But you could probably root for the Texans there. Wouldn't be the end of the world if Indianapolis lost that game. Giants, Dolphins, again, the Dolphins have won some games. They're 5-7. I'm not really all that worried about them, but I guess you root for the Giants, NFC team. Daniel Jones, I don't think is going to play in that game.
Most likely is out. They brought in Jake Fromm, but they already stated that Mike Glennon will start this game.
So here are the 3 important ones. Ravens, Steelers. That game's right here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. It's the game of the week. Steelers, you got to have win. Steelers are 5-5-1, so really not that big of a threat to the Titans, but you still get your shot with the Steelers. And if you were to be able to play the Steelers and get the tiebreaker from them, then the Ravens would be down a game. And right now, technically, the Ravens are a half game ahead of the Titans. The Ravens are 8-3. The Titans are 8-4. So you need the Steelers to win that game. That's a big one. Steelers-Ravens. You need the Steelers to win. The game is in Pittsburgh. And the one thing I will always say is Steelers-Ravens is always a game. No matter how good one team is or the other, it's like a college football rivalry. It is always a close game. It is always a physical game. And quite frankly, I don't think much about the Ravens. I don't think as much about the Ravens as their record would indicate. Broncos-Chiefs, Sunday Night Football. The Chiefs are 9.5-point favorites. But Denver's only a game behind Kansas City.
That's wild.
Denver's 6-5. Kansas City 7-4. Right now, a Kansas City win would put them at 8-4, which would put them on par with you. Now, you have the tiebreaker over Kansas City, but the big deal here is Kansas City's red hot and half your team's on IR. So it'd be really nice to get a game from the Broncos that could kind of help the Titans move themselves down along the way. And then the Monday night game. Now, this is tricky. Patriots-Bills. Patriots are 8-4. Bills are 7-4. By the way, all these people that are like, the Titans got a late bye. Patriots don't seem to be having a problem with their season. But that's neither here. Buffalo's favored in the game. And the game is in Buffalo. And it's on primetime. Mac Jones, whatever. I think if you're a Titan fan, you really need the Bills to win this game. And then this is what's crazy. The next 3 games for Indianapolis, or for New England. At the Bills, at the Colts, Buffalo at home. I think you need Buffalo to win the first one. I think you shockingly need Indianapolis to win the second one. And then I think you need the Patriots to win the third one.
To balance out that Buffalo?
Yes.
That other Buffalo game?
Yes. But you need Buffalo to win the first one in order, because you got the tiebreaker on Buffalo.
Right.
So you would be 8-4, they'd be 8-4, Patriots would be 8-5, Patriots would be out of the division lead, and then you would immediately bump up to number 2 in the AFC. So let's say Kansas City wins, and let's say Buffalo wins. Mm-hmm. You're number 2. And we went over what the road is right now for the Titans. The road for the Titans to the Super Bowl would be a game against Buffalo at home, followed by a trip to Foxborough, followed by the winner of the Ravens and the Chiefs. Chiefs would be here, Ravens would be there. I don't like that road. I think you got to get an easy game in there somewhere, whether it is to win the AFC and get the first round bye, or whether it would be you're the number 2 seed and you draw that last AFC team that gets in, whether it is the Chargers, whether it is the Broncos, whether it is the Raiders, which those teams aren't going to be pushovers, but I'd rather play that team or the Steelers than have to play, Buffalo and Josh Allen in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing here is, can you knock the Patriots down a notch or two? Because they've been the hot team. And what have we seen with so many hot teams in the NFL? As soon as you get hot, you get right back down.
Yep.
And I just don't know if that narrative fits a Bill Belichick-led team. Because I just think that mindset on that team is different. But I think the most important thing is if you can knock the Patriots down as much as you possibly can. And I think the Colts and the Bills both have legitimate chances to beat that team. That just sets the Titans up for so much more success.
So I'm just saying, I feel, and I'm not trying to, fearmonger or what. That's what I think you need to have happen. So it is funny you bring up the fact, we talked about the Fox schedule and how brutally awful it is.
Oh, it's bad.
I don't know what the local TV showing schedule is going to be here in town. But, I think Chargers, Bengals, there is some, Titans. There's some Titans there. This big game on CBS, Steelers, Ravens, big Titans implications. Sunday night, Titans implications. Monday night, Titans implications. And now we'll pick these games next. Six-pack picks comes up next on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. Invigorate Health. That's right, my guys. I went to Invigorate Health today. They're online at invigoratehealthtn.com. I actually went in there and I told them I was tired because I went to the Predators game last night. And they were like, get an IV. And I was like, really? They're like, yeah. I'd never done it before. So I had the executive package, IV therapy, right there in the arm. I got to tell you, it was quite the experience. And I think I have been pretty on fire today hosting the radio show. Now, they've got semaglutide. So for a lot of people out there that are trying to lose weight, semaglutide is the answer to your prayers. The reality is, and I hate this too, and I've always been a big guy my whole life, but it's always calories in versus calories out. And if you are a bigger person, that is something that you've been told for years. And it doesn't matter because you just can't stop. Whether it's binge eating, whether it's comfort eating, semaglutide will help. It is a safe drug. It has been approved by the FDA. It has been prescribed for years to diabetic patients, and now it's available to people like you. It's simple, and it is exclusively provided by Invigorate Health. Invigorate Health is online at invigoratehealthtn.com, where you can read up all about semaglutide. You can ask your doctor. I asked my doctor before talking to you. She said it's a great drug. That's semaglutide, exclusively carried by Invigorate Health, online at invigoratehealthtn.com.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
On Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. Rain returns late tonight into very early tomorrow morning. Lows tonight, middle 40s. Highs tomorrow, cooler. Low to middle 60s. By mid-morning into the afternoon, things will dry out to a partly cloudy day.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Hey, it's Jared. Your body needs water. That doesn't mean it has to be boring. And I'm here to tell you to give Focus a try. Focus is a sparkling water with a spark. It's infused with a boost of natural tea caffeine, so you get clean energy without sugar, calories, or crash. Go to drinkfocus.com to find the full lineup of flavors and get them delivered right to your door. Enter promo code GAME at checkout for 15% off your first order. Focus is also available at your local Publix. That's Focus, P-H-O-C-U-S, on the web at drinkfocus.com.
Your home value is way up. Why not use it to make your home even nicer with a new kitchen or bathroom? Hey, Willie here. So many of our listeners are doing this with Loan Pronto, thanks to their zero-cost cash-out refi program. Call Loan Pronto now. They're fast-tracking home refis for the year-end, and people are getting checks for 60, 70, 100 grand or more. It's fast and easy. It's your money, money you can use to add even more value to your home. Imagine 2022 with that all-new luxurious kitchen you've been dreaming about. Or start building that pool so it's going to be ready for the summer. Call Loan Pronto now. See how easy it is to use the equity in your home and walk away with the big check. They can even pay your closing costs, and you can skip your next 2 house payments. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
Robbie Stanley.
Coming in off the water. Yeah. Coming in there to tailgate.
Joe Rexrode.
That was fun.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10. Presented by Volunteer State Bank on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is on. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Stillman and Company, big games this weekend. We just went over them. Bunch of Titans implications. So it's time now for 6-pack picks presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Caroline, I actually went along with a lot of your picks, which made me very uncomfortable last
You
week.
probably should have been because I'm terrible at this game.
You are awful at picking NFL games.
Yeah,
Ian, how bad was the damage last week?
Let's see. Last week you were all picked the same games, except Caroline picked the Titans to win.
You picked the Titans. I lost my mind when
and Jared picked the Patriots.
Okay,
and I did hear one thing. Jared picked Houston. You gave Chase some type of ability to smack you in the behind with a paddle because you listened to Joe Rexrode. So I'm just going to throw that out there.
That
Let's
is
not,
true.
let us not forget that one.
I was driving in, and Joe was like, the Texans with Davis Mills are so much worse than the Texans with Tyrod Taylor, and I was like, oh yeah, makes sense. Texans, Jets, all right, I'll take the Texans. And I was like, but if I make a pick because Joe says something, you can smack me in the rear end with a paddle. So what?
So yes, Jared went 5-1. Caroline went 4-2.
Not bad.
Season record, Jared is at 42-29-1. Caroline is at 27-44-1.
You know what? I'm not even mad about it. 4-2 is the best I've done in some time.
That's a way to find the silver lining. I am going to start going by my new nickname, Jared the Greek. I think
I hate it already.
I think that's going to be my new nickname.
Nobody's going to call you that.
Jared the Greek. Let's do it. 6-pack picks.
Okay, we will start with a decent game here.
Are we avoiding Fox this weekend?
Well, without the Titans, we have to pick a little bit extra here. We're down a game, so we got to find an extra. But we will start on CBS, noon, Chargers at the Bengals, over under 49.5. We have Cincy, -3.
I'll go first. I'll take Cincinnati. I don't like the Chargers playing noon games because that's 9 a.m. their time. And quite frankly, the Chargers just feel off this year. Like, they should be better than they are, and I feel like they win one, lose one. They're like the Predators of the NFL. I am going to take the Bengals with Joe Burrow. I think they get it done. Give me Cincinnati.
Now, I was going to take Cincinnati, but since you took Cincinnati, I am going to take the Chargers. I'll take the Chargers +3.
Why?
I think this will be an interesting game, though. Honestly, why? Just because you took the Bengals. That is the only reason why.
Oh, you're trying to catch up?
Sure. I just would like to distance myself after you called yourself Jared the Greek. I'd like to distance myself from any of your opinions.
Jared the Greek?
That's not your name.
Okay, yes, we are going to Fox for the next two games.
Ooh.
Cardinals at the Bears, noon, Fox, over under 42.5. Arizona, -7.5.
Ooh. I'm going to take the Bears to cover 7.5. I do think that Arizona wins, but Kyler Murray is still questionable, I do believe, for the Cardinals. So I think if Kyler Murray does not play, the Bears are going to be able to keep it tighter, at least more than 7.5, because that's a pretty wide spread.
I will take the Bears for this reason. And, like, fans, like the Barstool Broy fans will get all worked up about this. Andy Dalton gives the Bears a better chance to win than Justin Fields does.
Why?
And because he knows how to play quarterback in the NFL.
He's a veteran.
And Andy Dalton was the difference in the game on Thanksgiving. I mean, he was the difference in the game. And I think people got to understand that the Bears are in better shape with Andy Dalton. Now, Fields isn't going to get any better, if he's not out there playing with reps and stuff like that. But they're going to lose if Fields plays. Andy Dalton plays. They're still going to lose. I think the Bears will cover the 7, though. I think it'll be a little bit closer. Give me Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, continuing on Fox, Washington at the Raiders, 3:05. Over under on this game, 49.5. Vegas, -1.
I guess I'll take Washington. I like what Taylor Heineke's been doing so far. Give me Washington.
Yeah, I think that Washington is going to be able to upset the Raiders. After what the Seahawks are not a great team. I think we've learned that pretty early on in this season. But Washington being able to get that win, was that Thursday night last week? I think that Washington has kind of got their groove, and I like what Taylor Heineke's been doing. I think the Raiders peaked way too early this season, and they're just on a slow incline downward.
Okay, back to CBS for the afternoon game. Ravens at the Steelers, 3:25. Over under 44. Baltimore, -4.5.
I'm going to take the Steelers in this one. The Ravens got really lucky in that game against the Browns last week. Lamar Jackson did not look good. The only reason why the Browns didn't win that game is just because the Browns offense can't really get anything going. So I think I'm going to take the Steelers here. I'm not a big fan of anything Big Ben's been doing, but Najee Harris has been pretty lights out so far this season.
I think the Steelers, too. I think these games are close. I think this is going to be a close one. I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens win at the buzzer. But I will take the Steelers in this game. Plus, Steelers got embarrassed last week. Usually you respond with a pretty good game. Tomlin's a good coach. I'll take the Steelers.
Okay, to the Sunday night game, AFC West Showdown. Sunday Night Football, 7:20 NBC. Broncos at the Chiefs, over under 47. KC, -9.5.
I will take Denver. I mean, Kansas City, everybody thinks Kansas City's got their groove back, but, you know, they beat, like, Dallas didn't have receivers when they played, and Denver's got a defense. Like, Denver's got a defense, and Teddy Bridgewater is not going to lose that game for Denver. Now, he may not win the game for Denver, but he's not going to lose the game. So we're going to see if Kansas City's back. I think Denver slows down that explosive offense. I think Denver gets enough offensively because Kansas City's defense still isn't great. I think the Chiefs are going to win, but I don't think it's going to be by double digits. I'll take Denver.
I mean, 9.5 is a really tough spread. I think I'm going to take Denver as well because I think it may be the difference of a touchdown, but 9.5 is a lot. Chiefs win this one, though. I mean, the Chiefs are coming off of a bye. Andy Reid off of a bye. Give me the Chiefs to win, but the Broncos to keep it closer than 9.5.
Okay, that brings us to the final game. Monday Night Football, ESPN 7:15. Over-under, 42.5. Patriots at the Bills. Buffalo, -2.5.
I'm going to take the Patriots to win this one. The Patriots have been on a heater. And if you offer me Josh Allen and Mac Jones, I probably take Josh Allen. But the Bills have been a hot and cold so far this season. The Patriots are on an absolute heater. And I think Bill Belichick knows what to do in big games like this. And he knows what's at stake in terms of the playoff picture in the AFC. So I think the Patriots win this one.
I think the Bills are going to win. I think the Bills are going to win this game. I think it's going to be a big statement game for the Bills. I think they're going to put the game in Mac Jones' hands, make him keep up with Josh Allen. I don't think he will. I'll take Buffalo. That's going to do it for us. We're out of here. Everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy the football money line.